There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. I updated my StreamYard or my I updated my software, so it's fine. Yeah, so just over on OG. Sorry, I'm late. I was kind of got involved in some stuff they got going on over there. I got to really kind of I gotta do some thinking on a couple of issues around here. What's up, Johnny Dollar? What's up, Agropolis? What's up, everybody? Good to see everybody in the chat today. I don't expect a ton of people here, but we're going to be doing the day shift today. We're going to be talking some politics, some things that some social issues, that sort of thing. Good morning, Devil's Advocacy. Good to see you. Good to see you. As I said last night, man, just so many interesting things have happened that just hard to even tell where to start, you know. Why is this turned down so low? All right, let's see. Is the audio good, guys? I go listen to it over here. Is that good? Oh, that's not good. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good. Good audio. All right, sweet. All right, so a lot of stuff's been going on lately. We've got a lot of angst out there in internet land, which I'm not going to bother getting into. Got to make some decisions about the directionality that I need to take some things. And right now, I got to tell you, man, there's so many clout chasing chumps out there that just I'm tired of dealing with it. And and if people don't want to watch me because I say I speak the truth, so be it. We've got a lot of stuff going on. It's interesting. We've got I had a real live lefty on last night who got just heated anytime that he was pressed on anything. I thought that was quite interesting. And we've had so many interesting things go on lately that it's hard to even know where to start. For example, the I don't know if they called him the president, but the leader of Singapore, the leader of the country, and I think he's been the leader for the past 35 years or so. And he came into power in Singapore when it was very poor. It was actually it was more like closer to like an African, like a dirt poor African country when he came in there. And what he did is he had a really simple formula. I cannot think of the guy's name. I'll look it up in a minute. But he had a really simple path forward, and he did a couple of things I think are really clear. First of all, he cleaned everything up. And when he took over, it was trashy. It was fucked up. It was crime in the streets, people getting knifed and shot and gangs and all that. Well, first thing he did is he cleaned everything up, got rid of all the trash, paved the roads, really made it special, made it unique. The next thing he did was he encouraged business to come in. And he got the stream's buffering. It looks good to me here, but I don't know. Is it buffering for everyone? All right, well, you can chat, so that's good. All right, so the guy's name was Lee Kuan Yew. He was a first prime minister of Singapore, and he basically he made Singapore what it was. He came in, he had much like Trump is doing, and the parallel to what Trump is doing is very interesting. So he basically went to businessmen and corporations and even other countries and said, look, we're going to have very low regulation. low taxes or no taxes, and you can operate here, you can build your business here, but you have to employ our people, right? You have to, it has to be good, right? And so, and he kept the corruption very low. So, and Singapore has very strict anti-corruption laws, it's not just a first world nation. It's probably it's probably even more advanced, probably wealthier than even Dubai. Like Dubai gets a lot of press, man, but I'm telling you, Singapore is where it's at. And he, his policies were very much like what Trump is doing, which is clean everything up, get the crime down, instill some pride, some national pride, so people want to do well, and then bring in those businesses and let them do well. And that's what Trump is trying to do. And it's interesting that there's so much opposition to that in today's society. And we're going to talk more about Trump than I normally do today, and that's okay. I hope everybody's okay with it. I hope they don't get mad about it. I hope you guys pay attention, listen to it, and so Trump's a Democrat, right? Can we all admit that Trump is a Democrat? He's not in any way, shape, or form. He's just not a Republican. He's not even really a conservative. He's a centrist Democrat at best. At the very best, he's a centrist Democrat. So when we look at what Trump is doing, from the eyes of the left, I don't understand why the Democrats hate Trump so much. And when I say Democrats, I mean actual Democrats, right? Like I actually mean like blue dog Democrats, populist, centrist Democrats, right? But I think what people miss, what everybody needs to understand, and I think what really people are missing out on hardcore, like they really don't get, is Trump is a Democrat, but the other Democrats are leftist. They're not centrist. They're not the same as him. They're actual leftists. They're communist or socialist. They've infiltrated the Democrat Party for a very long time. One of the problems with the collapse of communism in all these other countries is that the leftists here couldn't say, well, those guys are the real communists. Don't look at us, right? You don't look at what we're doing, right? So the Democrats had to play all the cards they could. They play the race card, right? They created the idea of a lot of racist things, like the legend surrounding Martin Luther King, the legend surrounding a lot of the pivotal moments in Black history, which simply are not true, right? They simply are factually not true. Like the first Black astronaut, can't remember his name, the guy who was groomed and basically pushed through the program and eventually failed out, and the entire organization had to justify why this guy couldn't cut it as an astronaut when he simply couldn't do it. Didn't have the engineering skills, didn't have the skills to do it. So the leftists pivoted, right? They created this idea of this massive racial divide. They need that. Without that, they don't have the us versus them that detracts people from noticing all of these socialist, communist policies that they continuously try and push. Now, of course, they're not as is shy about it, right? We actually have communists coming out and saying, yeah, I'm for communism light, right? I want democratic socialism. It's a different kind of socialism. It's never been tried before. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Sage, how are you, man? Actually, that's incorrect, and you know it, Anson. I know you know it. The actual guy who solved the problem, his name was Crenshaw. And that poor man has been ignored by history for these three black ladies because it made a better movie script, right? Crenshaw solved the problem. Crenshaw programmed the computers. Crenshaw taught all of these people. Yes, these ladies were mathematically talented. Yes, they did. They worked in a room with a bunch of other people doing slide rules, but all the drama in the movie, don't believe what you see in the movies. It didn't happen that way. Didn't. We all know it. And Anson, you know it especially. You know it. And honestly, it's, it has to, it's interesting because nobody wants to talk about the great contributions von Braun made. Like von Braun he was like crazy genius. And yet he's barely remembered. It's crazy. Like outside of Alabama, I doubt anyone even knows he exists. Wrong. It's very wrong. You've been thinking about me? I appreciate that, buddy. Oh, you've been thinking about Michelle. Michelle is going through a hard time, guys. And if you didn't know, she just, things are tough. So hopefully everything's going well for Michelle. But it's all of these things, that and I was thinking about the other day because honestly, I don't like Trump that much. I've said repeatedly over the course of this show, I wouldn't want Trump as a neighbor, right? I'm not sure that he and I would travel in the same social circles. There's an entire narrative out there that Trump is somehow the ultimate conservative, but he's not conservative. He and I, we do not have the same values. He's not small government. He's for a smaller guy. He's for a more efficient government because that makes more money. But those two things are mutually exclusive. Anson, that's not true. It's funny though. It's funny. So what's the play here? Why is it that Democrats hate Trump so much? When truly it should be the conservatives. It should be people like me that hate Trump. I should hate Trump. I should. Right? You don't actually agree, other than some of the financial things he's done and some of the pullbacks he's done against DEI and things like that, which I believe are just a good start. They're not it's not like the way I want it to be, but it's a good start. It's in the right direction, right? It's like watching someone that is not on your team, but everyone is crediting them to your team. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I've been thinking about it a lot because the Democrats should love Donald Trump. He's doing all of the things that they want. They hate him. Why is that? Why is it that the Democrats and the lefties hate Trump so much? That's, Anson, that's a solid point, my buddy. He doesn't think people remember what it was like before Trump. Every Republican was feckless and afraid to say anything that would offend the left or a woman. Trump fixed that, hopefully for good. I think there's some truth to that. I think there's actually a lot of truth to that. Let me dwell on that for a second, because that's all right. So when we let's just look at what people think about Trump, what people say about him, right? Like, it's all stuff that is exactly what Anson just said. Anson just said that, hey, he talks to women in a very specific way. He talks to just normal people in a very specific way. And he's not afraid to offend people. We literally had the guy last night, the lefty, who was like, well, Trump's just not very presidential. I don't know what the fuck he means by that. Andrew Jackson shot a man on the White House lawn. I think Raymond, didn't one of the presidents strap the guy on the White House lawn? We literally whipped him. YouTube has been weird a lot lately, guys. YouTube's been weird a lot. Mitt Romney's binder full of women was replaced by Trump grabbing him by the pussy and owning it. Yeah. I mean, to some degree, yeah. And he's a Democrat. He's like anytime somebody says, well, do you agree with that? I'm like, no, I don't. But the alternative is an even worse Democrat, right? Like, you've given me the choice between two Democrats. I'm going to pick the Democrat that's closest to my worldview, closest to my to what I think I want and need in society, right? Like, I'm not going to pick the Democrat that's going to go full on commie, right? So it's an interesting thing. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, because a lot of people come at me and they're like, you conservatives, you just love Trump. And I'm like, do I? I don't think I do. I don't think I love Trump at all. Do I love what he does? Yeah, for the most part, I think he's been very effective. Very effective. Do I think a Democrat could have done any better? Fuck no. And this is a problem. This is a question. This is why Sage Overcast can do nothing but seethe. He can do nothing but sit there like a little child in his chair and seethe. And cope really hard. Because I can't name a Democrat that would do a better job than what Donald J. Trump is doing right now. Not one. I can't name one, and you can't either. You can't either, Sage. That's why you're seethe. You put Gavin Newsom in there, the guy who literally has been charged multiple times with these issues with the train to nowhere. You put Bernie Sanders in there? Are you insane? That's crazy. That's nuts. Drop the link. I will in a few minutes. You can come up. That's fine. I like you. You're all right. But the alternative, Harris, are you in? That's even more insane. Harris can't tie her own damn shoes. Harris literally would be like you want to talk about Biden being controlled by the deep state. Harris would be twice as bad. Harris has been twice as bad. There's no Democrat that you're insane if you think Harris is an option to Trump. You're insane. That's insanity, sir. It's literally absolute insanity. Joe and the hoe, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It would have been even more auto pen shit. Like, I don't know who would have been running the country, but it damn sure wouldn't have been Harris. That's for sure. That's insane. Gavin Newsom, that's crazy. Pete Buttigieg, Yeah, put Mayor Pete in there. That'd be a good plan. Do that. Although, he's trying as hard as he can to butch up for a presidential run. That's the truth. None of you guys can give a Democrat that's worth the shit. Which nice watch? What watch? This one? What's up, Paige? How are you? What you talking about? I didn't even know it showed. But yeah, so I mean, look, it is, yeah. I've had it for 20 years. Yeah, Jubilee band. Yeah, sorry. So, that's hilarious. Nobody ever notices my watch. You guys crack me up. Some observant mofos in my chat. I tell you what. Oh, okay. My wife has the matching. I mean, my wife and I have a matching set, like exactly matching. Except hers is the feminine, mine is the masculine. So, and I've got a tag, Octavia. That's pretty cool. And I got a bunch of other. I'm a watch hound. I love my tag. Tag's awesome. We can get into that. But look, you can't. Can anyone in the chat, challenge to the chat, name a better candidate for president during the times Trump ran than Trump? Especially on the Democrat side. It's a 41 millimeter stand. Oh yeah, all right, yeah. All right, sweet. That's a nice setup. That's a really nice setup. Can anybody name me a Democrat that they think would have done a better job than Trump? And let me propose this to you. This is what I was saying earlier. For those of you who just came in, I just think it's time to be honest with ourselves, right? Or at least not necessarily, because I think most of us have been very honest about who we are and what we are, and we all. I think most of us will admit that Donald J. Trump is not a conservative. To me, he's not a conservative. He is a centrist Democrat. Right? So blue dog Democrat, centrist Democrat, whatever you want to call them, that's what Trump is. And it's just what he is. He's not a Republican. Stop saying that. He's not a conservative. He's never has been. But he was the best we could get. He's the best we could get elected, right? Because he said the things that needed to be said. Right? He channeled his inner JFK and said the shit that needed to be said. He channeled his inner Teddy Roosevelt, said talk softly, carry a big stick. I actually believe it's walk softly, carry a big stick. But and my guest last night, a lefty, who was at least at more or less good faith, kept coming at Trump like he's a conservative, right? Like he doesn't have our conservative values. Well, no, he doesn't. But he's the closest we could get. And if I'm given the choice between two Democrats, I'm going to take the better choice of Democrat, right? If that's what you give me, which is what happened. We had Harris, right, who's a complete moron, with Tim Walz, who's an even bigger moron and socialist. They're both socialist. On one hand, I got Pete and Repeat, the nut jobs. On the other side, I've got America First Trump, who I know loves America, wants America to do excellent, and who is 100% going to fight for America and Americans. 100%. And I got J.D. Vance, who was man enough to say, yeah, I said I didn't like Trump. What about it? That's what I believed in. That's what everybody told me. I have since watched his presidency, and now I changed my mind. That takes a big set of stones, to be honest with you. I have more respect for Vance than I do basically any other politician in the country right now, because of the statement he made 2 years ago when he stood up in front of the crowd and said, yeah, I was wrong. I'm not forgetting that. We just haven't gotten there. We haven't. It's not that I'm forgetting that the Dem voters don't realize that illegal immigration is the 20th century version of slavery. It's not that I don't realize that. It's that I haven't gotten there yet. Now, all of this goes back, guys. This goes back decades, right? I said this earlier. As long as the communists were out there, as long as the Red Scare was there, the leftists in this country could operate and they could tone it down. They could, they didn't really have to. They had to kind of hide their lefty ways, because everybody in the world was concerned about communism, anti-communist. We're going to beat the Reds. We're going to do that. And there was a massive amount of rhetoric out there in the public. And you would never get a actual pro-social, somebody who actually came out during a campaign, in a speech on the campaign trail, in front of God and everybody, and said, democratic socialism is a potential strategy for this country. If you had said that prior to the fall of the Soviet Union, when the Red Scare was going on, when all of this was happening, when I was a young man, if you had said that, your political career, over, instantly, done. But now you can have people on stage. You repeatedly have people on stage talking about communism, straight up. Now they couch it, right? They hide it in this ball of wax. They call it democratic socialism. They want to deceive you. But they're still fucking socialist. They're still fucking communist. Fuck those guys. And look at what we've got. We've got all the social programs, the entire idea that the entire revision of history. If I said that in the 1950s, I would get arrested. You damn right. I probably would be, right? But not now. No, sir. No, sir. You got teachers teaching that shit in classroom. When DEI first started back in the 70s, it started fucking everybody. It's just wrong. And Trump knows it. Trump's watched it. Trump's lived it. That's why he was the right choice. Was he the best choice? Absolutely fucking he was. Was he the choice I wanted? No, he was not. And he is not. I said that then, I'll say it now. I love that. I love it when he fucking just bags the press and calls them out for being fucking socialist. The State of the Union the other night, the few minutes I saw of it, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I had so much wood, I was about to hit myself in the face. America, baby. America. Democrats sitting up there like a bunch of pussies, not standing, being disrespectful. Can't even imagine it. I can't believe anybody is going to support that nonsense. I got to be honest with you. Any Democrat, anyone that votes for those six sons of bitches that wouldn't even stand up during the State of the fucking Union, if you vote for them, you are unfucking American. You've betrayed your country. You've betrayed everything. You run around calling Trump a pedophile with no proof. Every time you ask for proof, well, it's in the Epstein files. No, it's not. If it was, he'd been in jail 5 years ago before he could run for president. Dumbasses. I think Ross Perot really did try to win the presidency, but he was never going to. And I don't think I don't think a third party candidate will. I don't think a third party candidate will ever be able to win. And put testosterone in the water and liberal men will become right-leaning in a week. You're probably right. That's funny. Johnny Dollar, that's what you have right now, buddy. That's what Trump is. You guys have to understand, Trump is not a Republican. He is not a conservative. He never has been. He never will be. He is a centrist Democrat at best. At best. And he came out against illegal immigration. He came out against the trans movement. He came out against abortion. He came out against all these things. He's basically a Kennedy Democrat. The problem is, unlike Kennedy, they haven't been able to get him yet. Now I'm tasked, ladies and gentlemen, right now trying to figure out, because we were talking the other night about who would be the next presidential candidate. Now, yesterday I was saying that I don't think we've seen that guy yet. I don't think that guy's out there yet. I don't think he's in there, because we were talking about Rubio and Vance and some others. I don't think so. First of all, I think Vance DJT Jr. ticket might be the ticket. It might be a winning ticket. Maybe. Like Hegseth? Hegseth, maybe. I like Hegseth. If Perot would have won, do you think that politics would have swung more towards business people to running for president? Maybe. It's so hard to think that. It's so hard to guess that. I don't know. But we need a real Republican to run, right? We need an actual conservative. Not a professional politician, not a Ted Cruz, not Marco Rubio, no Nikki Haley. I heard some of these jackasses the other day talking about how they just wish Nikki Haley had won and primaried Trump out, because they just love her. They were just fucking swooning over her because, she's so moderate. Fuck that. She was further left than Trump was, still is. Thomas Massey. See, I like Thomas Massey. I just think he's got a lot of like stuff hanging around him, but I do agree with that. Rand Paul is a good choice. Good choice. I think the thing is, I think Rand Paul could actually get on the ticket. I think he could. I think he could because I think Rand Paul could survive the primary because he's no longer seen as a crazy libertarian psycho. He's really seen as mainstream, kind of Republican, kind of libertarian, but kind of in that. But now, you know, and it could be spun. A good political person could spin Rand Paul as the more presidential version of Donald J. Trump. Huh? You see where I'm going with that? Rand Paul and Thomas Massey should run on a ticket. Yeah, that would actually be I would vote for that ticket, to be honest with you. That's I would vote for that ticket. That's Johnny Dollar. I think you're on to something. That is a good ticket to me. That sounds like a good ticket. We need to defeat the fearless leader also. I think you need to have Trump's endorsement. That's going to be hard. And so, but yeah, Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, that's potential. I don't think you're going to see who's going to actually run until I predict you won't see who is going to be in who's going to actually primary for the Republican Party until I don't think you're going to see the guy who's probably going to be the winner. I don't think you'll see him until April next year, maybe. When he just absolutely has to start, I think they're probably quietly campaign, raising funds. But the problem is anybody that's out there that says they're going to run for president or that people pick up and start talking about a presidential run, the media will just fucking toast them. Just toast them. And, I don't know. I don't think that's something. Yeah. Need to defend the fearless leader. Yeah. And I think that I think that conservatives, moderates, hardcore Republicans, I think that we have to get behind the one candidate like we did Trump. And it's not a hold my nose thing. It's just this is the right thing to do for the country. It's not. I really fucking hate that hold the nose shit. I'm going to answer some of this chat really quick. When was the last time a VP won presidency when they ran? Because that's what I don't like about the idea of Vance running. I'm with you on that one. Actually, so what would be ideal for me, my opinion, you hit Paul or someone like Paul, but maybe we haven't seen yet, some governor somewhere, and maybe Massey is VP. Massey as VP is very attractive to me. You get that ticket rolling, they get elected. Hopefully they can double up, and then you run Vance in. You run Vance in the when they term out, and you have them promote Trump. Bush Senior. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The midterms are just so squirrely right now. But I hesitate to even start looking into it heavily because it's so awful. What's up, So Loud? How you doing, my man? What's up, everybody? If you're just joining us, we're talking about various potential running Republican Party presidents, and I'm examining the cope that is the I'm examining the cope that is the left calling Donald J. Trump a conservative and being mad at him for not having conservative values. This is you guys, do you understand how nuts this is? Donald J. Trump is a Democrat that was elected by Republicans as president because he was the most conservative, the most rational choice. You would think that the Democrats would be overjoyed at this. They now have a centrist, moderate, right-leaning, but moderate president. But they've lost their damn minds because he is loved by the conservatives. Do you understand how insane this is? Do you understand the reality of this? You have dyed-in-the-wool Republicans who have very clearly defined values that looked at the choices and said, Trump isn't a conservative. He's not a Republican. I mean, he's running Republican, but he's not Republican. He's a Democrat. He's been a lifelong Democrat. But he's not saying the crazy shit that fucker is. Do you understand what that really says about our society? And now I know Anson is high. Anson, drugs are bad, okay? Candace Owens. Candace Owens will tell us about how she's X-Men. Her and Charlie Kirk are X-Men. Right. The easy thing, yeah, Mr. Mister is right. The easy thing to do is for the easy thing to do is for the left just to do the right thing, and they won't because they just have to do it. They just can't help it. They just cannot help it. They just can't help it. I don't know what else to tell you. You know, I know it's crazy. You know, I know it's insane. But, you know, what can you say? What can you do? Yeah. Right? Like, what can you do? Can't do anything. Really. Terrible. Just terrible. Just terrible. You think me and Chaotic Truth should run for the next administration? Yeah, you know what? I'll run. You can roll back to the 90s, yeah. Is that for real? I don't pay attention to this shit. You guys are going to have to let me know. Is that real? If conservative is to keep what we have, we really need a reactionary president. I don't disagree with you, because right now, basically the conservatives are being conservative and they're getting bullied by Democrats who are just nothing but bullies. Yeah, they're not right wing. I agree with you. Nick Fuentes especially is not right wing. He's in like a class of his own. He's not right wing. The best thing the Dems could do for the Repubs is to run Newsom and AOC. Why? You want the nudes to get leaked or what? Is that what's up? You trying to get the nudes leaked? I mean, it feels like you're trying to get the nudes leaked, you know? So... I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because you know that Newsom's going to hit that, right? I'm just saying, you guys know that, right? Like Gavin Newsom, AOC, Newsom's gonna hit that. You know that. You know what's up. You did like how Trump showed the Dems that Dems were not for U.S. citizens. Yeah, in the state of Virginia, absolutely, that is crazy. Can I define right wing? Honestly, I can't. Look, I define. Conservatism is right. So I believe that people who are actually conservative are right wing, and actually conservative means being conservative, right? Like, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I don't know, and so I don't know that I really can at this moment because it's been bastardized so much. Let's see. John Thune is our biggest obstacle. We need the SAVE Act. Yes, absolutely. We need the SAVE Act. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just saying, look, Gavin, you can't say that on my show, man. You can't say that on my show. What are you doing? What are you doing? Gabbard or RFK would have done better than yes. Actually, right. So when I asked earlier which Democrat could have been put up, that would have been a threat, an actual threat to our man, the myth, the legend, Donald J. Trump. RFK. RFK would have been the biggest threat. He wouldn't have beat him, but he would have been a much bigger threat. You know? He just would have. Because, and honestly, so one of the things I thought, so I don't know if you guys remember this, but before the run up to before the primary even started, RFK and Trump met several times, and there was a lot of discussion about what they were talking about and all of that, and then when RFK started running, everybody's like, well, because I predicted to my friends, especially my libertarian friends, that Trump I was very convinced that Trump was going to name RFK as his running mate instead of Vance. I didn't know Vance was even in the picture at that point. Vance came out of left field as far as VP, and I think that, and I originally thought that for sure, since they had met previously, that Trump was going to put RFK as his running mate, because that would have been unstoppable. Like it would have been the dream team. Guaranteed. I mean, he would have won by like Reagan-esque landslide. He did okay with Vance, but I think he would have done better with RFK. Then RFK was running as an independent because, the Democrat Party hates him. The problem is that I knew, or not the problem, the thing is I knew without a doubt in my mind that there was no dang way that the Dems were going to run RFK because they hate him. They hate him worse than they hate Trump. Trump, at least, is centrist, and they understood that he was never really a Democrat. He was never really a conservative. He was out for America. Like, that's all he really gives a shit. He doesn't really care who's president. He just wants America. Hey, man. Hey, dude, you're cool. OG Raid, what's up, OGers? You're absolutely cool, man. You're absolutely cool. No problem whatsoever. Good to see you, Abe Dinkus, in the house. The man, the myth, the legendary creature that is Abe Dinkus. And so but if you had told, and when I told my libertarian buddies that I thought it was going to be RFK and Trump, then they were insane. And then when RFK started running as an independent, they're like, see that he's going to run against Trump. And I'm like, we'll see. And then, of course, I believe that RFK ran as an independent to get libertarian and centrist Democrat voters on his side, and then he pulled those to Trump, which was a fucking great play. And then Trump obviously paid him back for that. So, however, had the Republican Party sucked it up and not put the token female in position to run, had they used their damn brains and put RFK in place, I think RFK would have been hard to beat, and I mean hard. Camel Toe never had a chance, but RFK did. RFK, if he had run against Trump with a decent running mate, like somebody other, like if it had been RFK and Booty Juice, Trump would have had a hard time beating that. My opinion. Because the Democrats would have come out in force to back them. But again, the Democrat elite hate, capital H, 8T, hate. They're haters of RFK. That's right, booty juice. I mean, booty jag, whatever, booty juice. So, we can. I do think that in the next election we'll see a kind of a turnaround. We'll see. I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be as hard fought as it was. I honestly think that if Trump can continue the direction he's going. If Trump can continue the way he's going and the economy continues to do well and it continues to right itself and he can get a few things in place, which is going to be hard because he's going to have a lot of fight. There's going to be, and the midterms are going to have a big influence on this. And he can just kill the next two State of the Unions. I think the Republicans are going to slam dunk it again. And I'm going to say this. I think part of the reason, this is just my opinion, I have nothing to back this up. I have nothing to back this up, but it's my opinion. If Trump goes out on any kind of high note, the Republicans are going to kill it. They're just going to kill it. I think whoever runs on a conservative ticket is just going to destroy the Democrats. That's what I think. I think because everyone's sick of all of it, all of the mentally ill nonsense. Especially if it's a combo like we've been talking about. Yeah. But again, the next candidate can't be a watered down typical Republican candidate. It's going to have to be somebody that's got some backbone and has got some shit going on. Now, you're right that right now, Booty Juice is polling better in with Democrats than AOC, but Gavin Newsom and AOC together, that might be the dream team. The problem is I think that most Americans look at California as a failed state, and there's not a whole lot that Gavin Newsom can say that, look, I won. Plus, he literally the other night went to an all black venue and literally effectively called everybody there retards. That basically said that he was retarded just like them. And he can't read, and he's got a 900 SAT score. So that's not good. So so I think I think it's really good. I don't know if OG wandered over with his raid, but OG, if you want to come up, I'll throw you a link, my man. If anybody would like to come up and jabber for a little while, get to the point, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Pet Buddha butt cheeks is the best pronunciation. Yeah, maybe. I like Mayor Pete Booty Juice the best. Because I can't say, because his name is spelled literally like, if I just look at it, other than the G at the end, it's Booty Juice. Booty Jidge is what it actually looks like to me. Well, anyway, guys, since nobody wants to come up and nobody wants to, talk shit, which is totally fine. What's up, OG? You in the house? I did not see OG in the house. You set it on a 30-second delay. It does not buffer. Okay. That's interesting. I don't think my delay is... I don't know if my delay is 30 seconds. Well, everybody wanted to come up. Now nobody wants to come up. What's this deal, man? It's all right. It's okay. It's fine. All right, guys. So we'll just continue on. The next, we've already talked about what I think is the most important thing, and that is the next presidential election, after, how we think about it after the State of the Union. I do agree with the statements made by chat that absolutely the State of the Union fired up people. Trump is excellent at that. He's a great speech maker. He's very, very good at it. And I think personally that there's a real there's real motivation when he speaks. You don't see the link. That's because I don't put it in the chat. Hit me on Discord. Yeah, just hit me on Discord, man. Hey, but do you want to come up, buddy? You hadn't been up on it. I hadn't seen you in a while, my man. Come on up. And the delay may be horrible today. I don't know, because it seems like people are reacting to things I say, like a long way back. Did I see the Freedom Tunes animation of the Whatever podcast? I have not. Please send it to me. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, just hit me on. You've got me on Discord. Just hit me on Discord. YouTube seems to be kind of jacking with everybody today. I don't know what's up. As I was saying the other day, guys, while I'm waiting for Sage to come up or whatever, or just anything. So the other day, as I said, one of the airplanes that have flown, I've got a lot of time in, crashed the other day. It's, I mean, it's something that happens, you know. Shit happens every day, and let's see. Why is this? Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got to watch that when I can. That's good. I don't know. It looks like it was it looks like what happened was a student pilot who flew from my town, which is Murfreesboro, to Jackson, Tennessee, which is about halfway to Memphis. And there's a link, Sage, and I'll send you the Discord here in a second. Let me get an invite going here. Sage Overcast. Or Outcast. Why do I keep saying Overcast? Probably because it sounds cooler. So anyway, so apparently this guy probably was doing a cross country, probably a student pilot doing a cross country, probably like their 50-mile cross country or something like that. And he flew from my town to Jackson, Tennessee, which is about halfway to Memphis, maybe a little closer than that. And then landed, turned around, flew back. Or was flying back. He gets about almost, he was within probably 20 miles. And looks like he ran out of fuel. Trying to make a descending turn into a field and just got it wrong and went into the trees. Somehow did not die. I've got a picture. I'll post it up here in a minute, or I'll show it in a minute. Give me 1 second. I'm not watching my screen, so just calm down, everybody. Let's see. There we go. All right. Hey, we got Sage. Sage is in the house. Why is that still up there? What's up, Sage? How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Jeez, hang on.
Yeah. So, give me a sec. So, yeah, keep going. Yeah, you're fine. I'm just looking for something to. I had something, and I'm just looking for a file that I had out.
For the background or something?
No, well, I was talking about how one of the airplanes that I built a lot of time in crashed the other day, and it went down. Yeah. I believe Sunday. I think it went down Sunday.
So yeah, it's outcast. But if you're thinking of the weather, it's probably overcast, so that works too. Either way, I'm cool with it.
I don't know. I think Sage Overcast sounds like hardcore, so that's probably why I do it. You know.
Actually, I have two questions. So the first question I have is because I have TDS. So would you say if I didn't like Trump because of specific Trump policies, evidence or data or things to back up that they were bad policies, would that be Trump derangement?
No, I mean, I think that I don't really. So for me, Trent, and that's a great question, because I don't usually accuse people of Trump derangement syndrome, because I think that usually people have a legitimate reason that they're like, well, I just don't like this. Turn up, Sage. Okay, I will. Okay. I got you. Oh, wait, I said I did. Cancel. There we go. So I don't like it when people accuse other people of having TDS. Yeah. I'll say it jokingly, but I rarely ever say it like meaningful, right? But I will say that like I'm wondering today, like, why do the Democrats hate Trump as a Democrat? Trump is a Democrat. He's not a conservative. He's never been a conservative. He's a centrist. I'll give him that. I'll give him that he's a centrist Democrat, blue dog Democrat, Kennedy Democrat, whatever. I will give all of those. I will say that is 100% Trump. Okay. But he's not a conservative. He's just not. Does he have conservative outlook? Sure. I know a lot of Democrats with conservative. I know Democrats that are super pro Second Amendment. I know Democrats that are super fiscally responsible, but yet they also believe in a lot of social programs, but they believe in fiscal responsibility. I know guys that identify as Democrat that hate the idea of abortion. So, look, I'm not. First of all, people define themselves, right? First of all, but you can be part of a political party and not embrace every single portion of that party. And I guess that's what I'm getting at here, is that I don't like Trump, right? Like, I like some of his policies. I like a lot of the things he's done. I like his attitude. I like his stage presence. I like the way that he is elevated, to some degree, elevated the perception of Americans in a global outlook, because when you've got Biden over there and Obama apologizing for Americans when they shouldn't, it makes us look weak, and I think Trump makes us look strong. And
I don't know if I give you that, but okay.
Well, it's fine. You can disagree. Look, man, you can disagree with anything I say. That's the entire idea of politics is we're not going to agree.
Yeah, so in regards to Democrats, I don't think if they don't like him because he's a dictator, right? He would be a dictator, authoritarian dictator, whatever you want to call it.
You think? Hold on. So that's an interesting observation. Why do you think he's an authoritarian dictator?
Well, because of the how he is handling everything. Like, he's not using Congress; he's executive ordering everything.
Sure, but he can't use Congress, right?
Well, he can, yeah.
No, hold on.
You're froze. I don't know if you're supposed to.
Oh, I did freeze. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's on my end. That's I think I need an update.
Whacked. Like, I had to restart. I'm like, is this me or him? So I YouTube. So just so you know, it's a little bit of YouTube. But go ahead.
Yeah, YouTube's been weird all day. But I also think I skipped an update on my software. I'll get to it. I promise.
He can use Congress, and that you were going to ask me something.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. So I don't think the problem is that Congress chose, and I'm going to have this criticism of Congress for every president. I think that's why Bush and Obama had more executive orders than any other presidency before theirs, because Congress doesn't do their job. Congress doesn't actually pass laws anymore. For the most part, I think Congress, the most charitable I can be about Congress, is that what they've done is they've offloaded their responsibility to the Supreme Court. They basically will just, if they pass a law, which is kind of rare these days, but when they finally sign a law into being, they're really looking at the Supreme Court to redefine it for them, right? They don't actually want to be held responsible for any laws. And Congress, I think, Congress, I don't think is as effective as it ought to be, and that's a real problem. I also don't think. I think the Supreme Court is just now becoming what it ought to be, because again, Congress had basically subbed out their job to the judicial branch, which is wrong. And I think they've done that for a very long time. That's not a criticism of even the current Congress. I just think it's been that way for the past 25 years. Because once Congress understood that they don't actually have to take hard stances and they don't actually have to make hard choices when it comes to law, they can just sign some very nebulous things, and these giant bills, these giant omnibills, and then the Supreme Court sorts it out. Once they figured out that they could do that, that's what they're going to do every time, and they're not responsible to their when they go back. When my congressman comes back to me, when Marsha Blackburn comes back to me and says, "Yeah, I really fought against this, but it got through, and unfortunately, Supreme Court decided this on it." Well, she's basically saying that she didn't really take a stand, right? And the same thing's true, I think, with almost every congressperson right now. So I don't think Trump's being any more authoritarian than Obama was, or Bush was, or even Biden was.
Yeah, but Biden and them got bipartisan bills passed, right? I mean, we got a bunch of bipartisan bills passed under Biden. We've got them bipartisan.
I don't know that that's a good thing, because some of those bills are horrible.
Well, they might be horrible for you, but they might be better for other people. So it's hard. That's a hard decision to make. Like we're a democratic constitutional republic. Right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the republic aspect, you're closer to your congressman and your senator. I don't know I don't know what state you're in. Tennessee, maybe. I don't know who that is. Whoever.
Tennessee, yeah.
Okay. You're closer. Our system's supposed to work from the bottom up, not from the top down. But for some way, we've converted away from that. And we now feel that we're working from Trump, and it's supposed to go top down, but it's not. We're supposed to be closer to our congressmen and our senators, and we're supposed to push them. That's why I
can agree with that. However, again, when we have Congress not doing their job, and to get things done, every president has done this. So saying Trump is more authoritarian than Obama is simply a lie.
No, not really.
It is.
How would that be?
Just go ask Grok. Go ask Grok how many executive orders Barack Obama signed versus Trump.
Well, that's over 8 years. We don't have 8 years yet.
Well, just do the first 4.
Okay. Do you want to run it, or you want me to run it?
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, I'm asking you. I don't know. I don't know the number, but I believe that Obama signed more than.
Let's just do most executive orders.
Yeah, do most executive orders.
There's got to be somebody has got to compile the list.
Oh, there's absolutely. I've actually read before some information about it. I just can't remember the exact numbers or which way it even went, to be honest.
All right, so
okay, I think Bush signed the most.
Yeah, so Obama did average executive orders per year. Obama. Oh, I can show this on screen. Hang on. It's gonna be small on the screen, on my screen though.
Well, you can actually just there's a tab there that says share, and then I'll put it up on the main screen.
Oh, I can do that. Let me share. All right, I understand. Operating system. That's allow. Yep. Yep. Allow. Do you let me pick screen? No, pick this screen here. Select this one. All right. So that says one says Obama did.
I actually can't read that because it's too far away from me, but go ahead.
So it said Obama averaged 35 orders per year, and Trump did 55.
Okay, I believe that.
So, yeah, and this is 2017 to 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that.
So it looks like Trump is way more than Obama, because they're covering Obama from all 8 years of Obama is 277.
Yeah.
So, and I think my frustration is, some of my frustration obviously is policies. One is tariffs. Tariffs is a bad policy.
No, tariffs are working though.
No, tariffs are not working.
Tariffs are working. They are working.
Can you provide me? I can provide you evidence right now if you'd like of tariffs not working.
Okay, yeah, do that.
Okay. I just literally think I saved this. Well, just so I know, what do you mean by working? Just so I make sure, I'll
China's willing to negotiate with us because their economy is hurting. They're manufacturing every sector of manufacturing except for high tech is down. Their normal bread and butter manufacturing, all the widgets that they sell to America and the rest of the world is down. Every segment of it. They've got multiple companies along the coastal and coastal cities where they make these things, where all the production is, that have gone out of business. They've just closed up, shut down. and this is humorous, but the observation in Beijing is that there's never been so many ex-CEOs as Uber drivers as there are right now in Beijing, because that's the only work they can get, because these companies are shutting down because their economy is hurting. And unlike America, I will give the Chinese this, unlike America, China is willing to suffer through it and reboot their system to some degree, to not depend on exporting things to the U.S. as much, whereas the United States is, we just continuously offshore our debt.
Where are you getting this information from? Because China's now doing trade deals with the EU, with India, with Canada.
But those deals, hold on, they're working on those deals. Those deals haven't materialized. And actually, I got kind of caught up in this last night because Tyler was talking to this lefty who was talking about how Trump hasn't actually signed any deals, and yet he's made deals, but they're constantly being reviewed and whatnot, so they're never actually closed, right? And the idea, and so I don't know that when they talk about these deals, it's hard for me to unless they're like signed and it's like a done deal. Sure, China's trying to work with everybody right now. So are we.
So what? Yeah, but why are we tariffing the whole world?
Why would we not? The whole world tariffs us, Sage.
You know who pays tariffs?
The end consumer generally.
Right. We basically. So if Trump took.
Yeah. But do you know what happens because of that?
Well, I'm in logistics.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what happens because of that?
What happens?
We stop buying it.
Right.
We buy less of it. We buy way less of it. And you know what happens to the people selling it?
What?
They go out of business.
Those are American companies going out of business.
Not American companies. They're Chinese. If a company in China is manufacturing a product and bringing it over here, then that company goes out of business. And that's exactly what's happening in China.
No.
It is.
So let me explain something. So if
don't say no when you just look into it and you'll see that companies along coastline, that the manufacturing companies are going out of business. The ones that supplied all of the cheap shit that Americans consume are going out of business. Don't say that shit.
What do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living?
Yeah.
Right now, I do nothing. I'm retired. I've owned a couple of businesses. Now hold on. Now my wife still works in finance, mostly in mergers and acquisitions, and she actually just got back from China just a few weeks ago.
I've been in logistics and own my own logistics company for 25
years. I know your truck. I know that you move things around the country. Yes, I understand that.
I do freight forwarding. I'm on I'm on satellite radio. I work with think tanks.
Sure.
So when the importer pays that tariff, stop buying it because the price goes up. The U.S. company is the first to stop buying it. They go out of business first. That's why we get layoffs. So one of the first things you get from tariffs is the first thing the company want to do is they don't want to pass the cost on. They don't want to do that. The first thing you want to do is, can they be more efficient, or can they lay people off to overcome the tariff that they now have to pay? That's true,
and that does happen.
Perfect. So now the layoffs that we're seeing, eventually, if companies can't absorb the tariff.
Hold on. Let's. I don't want you to get too far downstream. So yes, people get laid off, but those people get hired somewhere else. Unemployment is continuously. We're seeing very, very low numbers of unemployment. So while I will grant you, hold on. While I will grant you that yes, company A lays off 30 people, but company B is hiring 30 people. So those people don't stay out of work for months and months and months, especially truck driving right now. And you know that. I don't know why you're being disingenuous about this.
Truck driving is laying off. You better look into
I understand that. All right, hold on. Let me ask you this.
I just don't want you to tell me how things work in my industry that I can literally show you.
All right, let me ask you something. Why did Yellow Freight go out of business?
What's that?
Why did Yellow Freight shut down?
Yellow Freight shut down because, one, they were dealing with the union, so that was one aspect. But what happened is freight basically moved from a west to east travel to a north-south travel.
Yeah.
Mexico, right? So what Yellow Freight specialized in, and they even opened up facilities in China, was you can't drive a truck from China to the United States. So you stick it on a ship and you put it in the port, and then you cross dock it. And then for either you put it on the rail or you put it on a Yellow Freight truck.
Yes, I understand all of this. I've moved things all over the world.
Yeah, but you're asking me to tell you, so I'm telling you. Did you not want me to tell you?
Why did Yellow Freight close?
Because we moved from they were designed to go from a west to east, and now we're moving
the multiple millions of dollars in debt that they created.
Yeah, but they would have been fine if we kept moving from west to east instead of north to south. Like Canada and Mexico became our top trading partners. And you can drive a truck from Canada and Mexico to the United States. So Yellow Freight was less needed on an LTL basis, because on an LTL basis, you needed more LTL carriers to cross dock and unpack containers from west to east when we were buying more from China.
It was.
They could sustain if the freight wasn't shifting to a trading partner of Canada and Mexico as our top trading partner.
My understanding was that the reason that Yellow Freight went out of business is because they overbought. They lost. I believe didn't they lose a lawsuit as well? Don't they?
Tons of lawsuits, but they overbought because they were overbuying in a west to east freight travel. When China was our top trading partner for a long time. And Trump definitely stepped up in his first thing and said, hey, this might be a bad idea. And then we decoupled from China. I give him credit for that. Well, when we coupled from China, Yellow Freight couldn't adapt fast enough to that. They were in it.
All right, fair enough. I'll even give you that. I don't think it was the freight routes that they couldn't adapt fast enough, because trucks can go anywhere, anytime. However, I will give you that I think that Yellow Freight was very poorly managed, and I think that they had probably 15 too many lawsuits come due all at the same time. And the way they shut down was overnight. They literally had drivers stranded, which was dirty pool and horrible.
Into bankruptcies they go from a slow to immediate. That's just how they go. They go from, and then that's just what happens.
Yeah, and then special trucking companies, and then isn't Swift in trouble now as well?
I don't believe so. They're one of the largest. Swift Knight is the largest, pretty much. I think.
Yeah, I think they are the largest now. I think
all trucking is taking a freight recession for 3 years. And you can literally see the freight recession start at 2018. You can Google it. Trucking freight recession 2018. And they will say tariffs caused that to happen. Because tariffs slow down the amount of freight. Truck drivers need freight. They need volume. So when that's a fairly good analysis. Now, how else would you have corrected the trade imbalance? Oh, I would have done selective tariffs on China. And I would have opened up freer trade with other countries that have the same ideology as us. And I would have emphasized, because China doesn't. We can agree on. I am not friendly, but I would have definitely.
Chinese, so I have a very unique input into China.
Right. I mean, my wife speaks Korean, and she has an input into Korea. We've had Korean people here, so I have, but probably not as good as well as you. But I'm not China friendly. Okay. But I would have.
I think most people, business wise, need to understand what they're getting into when they deal with the Chinese. So sure,
they steal intellectual property, and then they play, and then of course we'd be like, "Well,
do we need to listen to this? Do we need to play that, or what?"
What's that? Oh no, I don't. I mean, this we can, but this is basically what I'm explaining now. I mean, the economy is not better now. We're not doing well with tariffs. Like tariffs do not help. Like you're putting a tax on businesses here in this country that they either have to decide to pass it on to us or try to lay people off to maintain the profits that they need to be profitable. Right? But the problem is that those tariffs, if you're going to put tariffs on the whole world, then there's no good place to go. And manufacturing is not going to come back to the United States for a tariff that you can turn on today and turn off tomorrow. So
I disagree. I'm going to disagree with that. Literally everybody I know in American manufacturing right now, and I will admit that there's select markets. They're mostly in CNC manufacturing, plastics, airplane stuff, car stuff, boat stuff, that kind of thing. I'm not talking. I don't know anybody that makes just random ass widgets like brooms and shit, right?
Right.
but everybody I know is ramped up. They're hiring, they're expanding, they're building new facilities, they're updating old facilities. It's like getting all of the China stuff out of our market is actually really been good for all of these people.
Yeah, but they're not the people I with a global company that is a $10 million company that I do logistics for.
Sure.
And also they have pulled back from investment because the chaos in the market, they're not going to, and I talked to an oil rig guy, I do oil field too. Oil rig guys like, I got two options. I can take my millions of dollars and stand up another rig, or and lose money a barrel, or I can take my millions of dollars and stick money in the stock market and make money. Which should I do? And he's gonna take his money.
Wait,
and stick.
Hold on. Are you saying that hold on?
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that the people working the oil fields right now are losing money?
Yeah. If you opened up a rig, you need to make about $70. We need to be at about $70 a barrel to be profitable. We're laying down rigs. We've laid down a record amount of rigs.
Interesting.
And there's a reason.
One of the guy, and he's not in here. I haven't seen him in here today. Maybe he's in here. There's a guy that drives a truck. He's a longtime listener. He drives a truck from somewhere like maybe South Dakota or
North Dakota, South Dakota. Yeah.
And he drives a truck bringing, I think it's shale sand. But basically, it's oil shale, right?
Yeah.
And they're going 24/7. Like he barely gets home to see his kid.
Yeah, we're laying down rigs, so he's probably optimizing the rigs that he has left. But most of the companies, if you look up, if they've decided to drill more, or drill less, companies are deciding to drill less because it's not as profitable per rig. Like
I don't know that I believe. I'm gonna have to look into that. I don't know if I believe that math.
Do you ever watch Mr. Global?
No.
If you watch Mr. Global on YouTube, he's an oils expert, and he actually is. He's got papers that he's written things for Shell and everything else. He can explain it to you. But
yeah.
It's basically right now, and like steel.
Mm-hmm.
When you drill when a rig drills, they need steel casings.
Sure.
Well, steel has gone up, and you might have to run 1,700 feet of casing to get down to your well to bring it back up to surface, and that price of that steel has gone up. Supply and demand, because even though you tariff it over here, the price when you tariff it in China, you eliminate competition, and then that also puts more demand on the steel over here, which raises the price of steel over here. So
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think that you're oversimplifying this, and honestly, I don't know that I believe the numbers, because just since you're giving an anecdotal answer or example, I'll give one. I do a lot with epoxy, right? Airplane epoxy, mostly high-end stuff. The stuff that's made in Germany that I really, really like, that's like, in my opinion, the best to use for building airplanes, was already expensive. It was already like $200 and something.
Yeah.
Because we have a tariff right now on chemicals brought in from Germany, because they don't have the same environmental regulations that we do, and that's why they can make it there and we can't make it here or whatever. It used to be made by DP Shell here in the States, and now it's made in Germany because Hexcel wanted it that way. But it's global bullshit. Okay. Proset, which is made here in America, is still $100 a gallon.
But it's not as good, right?
And technically it's as good. I just don't like it as much. It's on paper they're the same, more or less.
And you don't like it, so other people probably don't like it.
Yeah, well, and it has other effects, right? Like that's the epoxy that they use to build the Cirrus aircraft. And I'm sure that they get a fucking deal. They may have a tariff exemption. I actually ordered paint for my airplane from Canada yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, I'm prepared. Just tell me how much the tariff is. No big deal. He's like, oh no, there's no tariff on this.
Yeah, because a lot of the tariffs that are still not tariffed in Canada are falling under the trade agreement that Trump did. Now that trade agreement is going to be reevaluated in July, and so get rid of it.
And I did all of this because you're exactly right. Trump made a trade agreement so that chemicals, plastics, and materials produced in Canada that are made there can be brought into here in certain amounts and certain conditions. You know, it's
same as NAFTA. Same as NAFTA. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like NAFTA, but it can be brought in with less or no tariffs, right?
Correct.
So I'm not paying any more for the paint now than I did 2 years ago.
Now that could change in July because it's under review. Just so
sure, but it could have changed at any time in the past as well. And to be honest with you, I'm actually shocked it hasn't gone up just because, you know, Canada's economy sucks. So I'm shocked that I'm going to give that manufacturer credit for not raising their prices because Canada's economy sucked. But they have enough businesses where they're not looking at it and on the micro just yet. However, those trade deals could be struck with China. The same thing could happen with China. The same thing could happen with every other nation. And that's why the tariffs are important. You keep saying the tariffs are a problem. I keep saying the tariffs are the only solution because otherwise they have no reason to work with us. And China especially, China is going to come back to the table. And they're going to do business with us and they're going to do deals with us because while we are suffering a little tiny bit, they're suffering a lot.
Yeah, but then why doesn't Trump just put 140% tariff on everything and call it a day?
I wish he would.
Yeah, but
to be honest with you, it's a 90% tariff right now.
No, it's 30.
On China?
Yeah.
I think it's 90 on most things.
Well, no, because the tariffs that he put on there, he could not do. He does not have the authority to put the tariffs on there like he was doing. He just lost that in court.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So it was 90. Now it's not anymore. Okay, I got
it. So the problem is that they could do trade deals.
But hold on. Before we get too much further off this. Okay. So China has the opportunity to make a trade deal that works for everybody, and they choose not to. So fuck them, and we'll suck it up over here.
Need them too. It's not just them needing us.
No, we don't. That's the problem. And of course, I'm an isolationist, and I know you're not. But we don't. We made everything in this country. We can make everything in this country again.
Hang on. But it's going to be if we do that, it'll be so expensive we can't afford it, right?
No, that's wrong. Well, maybe. One of the reasons everything is so expensive is because of all of our stupid ass regulations and laws that don't honestly make any sense.
Okay.
And so when we deregulate things like the Chinese do, when we give manufacturers the ability to actually manufacture, and we give oil companies the ability to go back to fracking and do these other things, you know.
Wait. We don't need more oil. Like, you understand, the more oil we drill, oil is sold as a commodity. Yes. But the more oil that we drill, the lower the price. The lower the price, the less profit. So we don't just drill, baby, drill.
Right. I understand that. And I understand how we export our debt and all of that. But when people start talking about, you know, we need oil from Dubai or wherever. No, we don't. We never have. And the same thing, just like China. You know, and just because I hate thinking, well, I don't hate thinking globally, but it's annoying to have to work out what other countries ought do, but it's interesting to observe what other countries are doing. So, you know, China is very much like the U.S. China has massive amounts of natural resources, just like the U.S. However, they don't want to deplete their resources. They would much rather buy oil from Russia, oil from New Guinea, oil from Africa, where the fuck ever, and let them pollute their countries because they don't handle it right. They don't have the technology or whatever. It doesn't matter. And deplete their resources and all of that. China would much rather have that situation and just pay for it than deplete their own. And we are the same way. And this is, I think, the problem that gets lost with globalists, which it seems like you are, and isolationists like I am. I don't have a problem if we need it, just getting it and producing it ourselves, or we make deals to get it that are advantageous for both us and them, but we don't give up everything and they give up nothing. I just don't believe in that.
It's not happening.
But that is happening.
Listen, have you ever... Okay.
Have you ever imported anything from China?
Yes, I literally. Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much, like, per item something costs? Do you understand how much it costs?
Yes.
Okay. So do you understand that? All right. So, and I was doing engine parts, so I'll just stick with what I know. So when I could have the exact same piston made here in the States for almost the exact same cost as I could by the time I imported it from China. The difference is that the Chinese would cut their price to the bone, and the American company wouldn't. And so I would pick the Chinese company. The problem is that by the time I paid for the quality control and got it back up to the level where I could trust the Chinese part, then the difference was moot again. And I almost always defaulted to just doing it locally, right? Because why not? You're saying that it seems like what you're saying is that there's no other option but for us to deal with the Chinese. And I'm saying, no, there's always another option. And it's not always more expensive to do things here than have them do it there. They do not, mainly because as a manufacturing country, we don't need mass amounts of manpower to perform the things. As a matter of fact, that's actually our biggest problem in this country, is that we're so industrialized. We have so many machines. We have so many things that we don't need a workforce. We have an excess of workforce that we don't have. We have no need for people to do certain jobs because the machine will do it.
So why aren't we doing it here?
Why? That's a great question. Why are we not?
Because it's cheaper to do it in, and doesn't have just to be China. It could be India. It could be Vietnam. It could be all these places.
I don't know that it's any cheaper at the moment. It kind of is, because we provide the security for all of the ships on the seas, and they don't. So it kind of is cheaper there because they can ship things here relatively cheaply, not have to worry about piracy or sunken boats or anything. But
it's not. What are you living in the past? That's not.
All the Somalis didn't hijack ships. Captain Phillips, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing, but that's not why it's so cheap to ship from China.
It is. It's because no other country has to pay for a navy to guard their ships.
Yeah, they do. The other countries.
Who does? Who? The Vietnamese have a navy that guards their ships.
No, but how much? That doesn't. Okay. That's not.
How many? All right. How? Costco, which is the Chinese Ocean Shipping Company. How many Chinese ships guard those ships from port to port?
I have never met somebody that thinks they know so much about logistics and they know so little.
No, I'm just telling you.
No, how much is it to ship a container from China to the United States?
Oh, I have no idea today. It used to be very much. I've shipped things from China for I've shipped things from Japan for I've shipped containers like $2,000, $3,000.
$1,500 to ship one from China. So you can hold container for the product from China. And that's not because of freedom of navigation going across the Pacific Ocean. That's because container ships are getting more and more container ships are out there, and they're getting bigger and bigger.
They're massive now. Yeah, they're massive now, for sure.
I can pull up Freightos. I can pull up marine traffic.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not to do with we don't have enough ships that we're out there doing this. But
again, if we don't have to ship it at all, if it's made here, we don't have to ship it at all.
Yeah, we still have to ship it. We just have to ship it by everything still gets shipped by truck.
Yeah, but it's going to be the same trucks that we carry it from the port anyway.
Yeah, but the cost of everything here, from insurance to power.
Right now we're back to what I was saying. It's our regulatory, and one of the things that was interesting when I was going to do business in China, the average company wants to be in business with the government in China. You want the government to be involved in your business.
The cheapest.
I'm sorry, you broke up there. It's like your mic, cut out.
The cheapest.
Like you're yelling at it or something.
China's not even the cheapest.
Oh yeah, China's not the cheapest.
So China has it's the amount of people they have over there to do it. Their supply chain is superior to other countries.
Well, they've spent a lot of time developing it.
So if for us to make some product here, it's going to be more expensive. Even the guy that Trump spoke with about the steel Rex.
What product pick a product that you think would be more expensive to be made here?
Hang on. Is that me?
It's not me. My phone's off, or not off, but silent.
I'm sorry, that's coming through.
That's all right. No big deal. You're cool.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
So what do you think? What do you think can be? What do you think that can be made in China cheaper than it can be made here?
Door handles.
Huh?
Door handles for cars.
Really? I think there's a company right here actually right down the road that does that for Nissan.
They make door handles, just the door handles?
Yeah, they make the whole door handle assembly. I mean, it's not like one piece.
What we do very well here is make the finished products, because the finished products sell for more and you can pay more. You can pay a wage selling the car than making the door handle, right?
Grumpelstiltskin, I don't see why you don't see Sage. I'm looking right at him.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the screen over here, and I'm on it.
Is he just? He doesn't see you live on like somewhere else.
Oh, I'm not streaming anyplace else. I don't normally do unless I ask you to tell you, and I just
yeah. So
I mean, a lot of people do, but
Nissan's here, and there's a couple other car companies here locally. And one of the interesting things that I find it interesting, right, is some of the sourcing, because they used to bring a lot of parts in from Japan, and then they were bringing a lot of parts in from China. But like there's a company here now that makes seats for Nissan. Okay. They make the seats here because it's just cheaper. They make the door handles here. And actually, I think they make it's not just door handles. They make a lot of the small parts here in Tennessee. They also make some in Mexico, or they were. I don't know where they're making them now. And so my neighbor, like right there, he is I don't know if he's still doing it, but as of a few months ago, I think he told me he finally retired. But let's just go with that. He's still at least partially gainfully employed. He worked with Nissan specifically in sourcing wiring harnesses. And for a long time, they were sourcing the wiring harnesses from Japan, Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and China. And they had so many problems with them that they ended up, I think all the wiring harnesses that they're using for some, I don't know which car it is, they're all made here locally somewhere. There's somebody set up a factory and they make wiring harnesses. There's a company that my brother works for, Quality Industries, and I don't know, they make things for Nissan as well. I don't know what, but they also do contract work for Nissan. They do contract work for Peterbilt. They do contract work for other people. So no, I mean, I don't think you can name anything except for maybe solar panels, because that's an environmental thing that can't be made here as cheap or cheaper than in China at this moment. What's that?
ECMs with the chips, with the semiconductors? Low-end semiconductors are made in China. Now, you have to understand that...
Hold on. Let's make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Are you talking about the chips that are made in Taiwan that we moved that Trump originally blocked the sale of the factory from Silicon Valley to Taiwan, and then Biden approved it, and the factory moved to Taiwan, and then they had all the unrest and everything, and now Trump's working to bring, and especially during COVID, obviously we couldn't get chips for cars, we couldn't get chips for a bunch of different things because China shut down, and so Taiwan is now... they're looking at, they've already moved a portion of the factory back, is my understanding, but they're looking to move the entire operation back to Silicon Valley again, which is where they were made originally. And then, of course, they said that China could not make the chips, and then China produced one, and it freaked everybody out because they weren't supposed to have the technology to be able to make them. Are those the chips you're talking about? No? What chips are you talking about?
Those are like 2 nanometer, and those chips, 2 to 4 nanometer chips, and those are chips that are made by companies like Korea, Samsung in Korea, which is building in Tyler, and obviously Taiwan. Those are used for AI. Low-end chips that go into like this mouse, your phones,
Okay, yeah, you're talking about just plain silicon chips.
Plain small, low end 12 nanometer chips that are well easier made. That they're not made here. We just don't make them here.
We used to make them here, though. That's the entire idea of Silicon Valley is that's where they made the chips.
Yes,
that's why it's called Silicon Valley, and they could again. They could again. It's not like we could easily make them here again.
People are like, well, they could again. There has to be a demand, and it has to be profitable.
Well, and that's actually that's interesting you say that, because right now there's such an issue with memory. I didn't know this.
Yes.
But apparently memory is like a big thing now. Like you can't get it.
Vendors are buying memory, and they're going to pay more memory than we are going to pay.
Is it just me, or is his mic cutting out?
I don't know why my mic's cutting out.
Guys, let me know, because I'm getting like it's like clipping out like part of what you're saying.
I mean, I've turned it down. I mean, I'm not topping.
No, it's not clipping, but it's like you're talking, and I can watch your mouth move, but there's no sound.
Oh, there might be a delay. I don't know. Anyways, but the memory is being bought up by AI companies for data centers, and they will pay way more than somebody will pay to put it in a simple personal computer.
Yeah.
So
they're noticing it too. They're saying they think it's clipping. It's not clipping. It's like it's cutting out. Is your cable plugged in right? And
yeah, I mean, I've got everything on my end.
It sounds great now. It sounds great right now. So anyway,
by myself, that might.
I mean, it's an interesting discussion. I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole on it, but it's an interesting discussion. But I don't have a problem with Trump on the tariffs. I understand why. I think they're working just based on my anecdotal.
Yeah, but I don't know, other than raising costs. So you're okay with raising costs to the American people?
Versus what?
Well, that's the purpose of a tariff, right?
Right, but versus what?
You're not going to get anything out of it. We're not getting anything out of it. We're not getting the trade deals. We're not
But we are getting the trade deals.
Same one?
He's got the deal coming together with China right now.
No.
I mean, it may die. It may die.
No, the China's deals always die. I mean, that's just what they do.
I mean, historically, I don't disagree with you.
All right. Well, then what trade deal has it done?
I don't disagree with you that the deal could die, but the deal needs to die first.
Okay. So what trade deal has it done?
We've got the, hang on. I forget now. We've got trade deals with, was it Vietnam? We've got it. We've renegotiated the deal with Japan. There's another one that I'm not remembering.
Signed deals, like you said earlier in the show, they're not signed deals.
Well, they're constantly changing.
They're concepts of a trade deal. His famous line.
Concepts of a trade deal. Yeah, I don't know. Hang on, I got my chat going crazier. It's going to rise no matter what. I don't know what you're talking about there. Abe, help me out.
Tariffs are not going to. You're not going to get rid of your income tax with tariffs. That's not a thing.
Where's that? Oh, I haven't scrolled down far enough for that yet. If tariffs eliminate income taxes, it's worth it. We're talking about in Tennessee. We're talking about getting rid of property taxes. Finally, it'll be great if they do, because we really need to. Sorry.
How would you pay for school if you got rid of that tax?
We have enough. So we have a state sales tax, and that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, but they say it don't. Like I have a state sales tax too. But
I don't know what state you live in, but Tennessee's not stupid. We operate at a budget surplus every year. So
you wouldn't be at a budget surplus for if you had to pay schools on top of that, would you?
I don't. I think we'd be fine. I think the math works out. I'd have to look at it again, but I think the math works out. We didn't. So 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year, we actually turned down the federal money, DOE money, because first we didn't need it, and B, it came with a lot of strings that Tennesseans don't like.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's how the Department of Education works. Those are grants that force them.
Yeah, they're not just grants. They're
They're grants. They don't force it on you. They don't force, like, you don't have to take it. You choose to take
it. Well, but if you take it, it comes with terms.
Right. But
it's
a grant comes with terms. To fulfill the grant and get the money, there are terms.
So at any rate, we turned them. We refused the money until the terms were changed, and even then, we didn't really need it. And I don't know if it went into the budget or not. But I think Texas and Tennessee are both looking at getting rid of property tax. I think that's a good move. I know that other states can't do that because of whatever reason. I think probably just poor spending habits or something. I don't know.
I mean, you're not. Mine factors in, obviously plowing, because I'm in Maine, so mine factors in plowing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have plowing. Well, no, you don't have. When I lived in Tennessee, I didn't have any plowing.
There's no plowing.
We were just screwed.
Removal. We have trucks that put the mag chloride or whatever they're using now down.
No plow. Yeah, I lived in Tennessee for about 8 years. I lived in I don't know where you live in. Don't dox yourself, but I lived in.
I say where I live all the time.
Well, I lived in Sardis, Tennessee, which was south of Lexington.
Where?
Sardis.
Sardis? I'm not familiar with Sardis. I thought you said something else, and I was like, I know exactly where that is. But
Lexington, Tennessee is.
Mm-hmm. Where?
South of Lexington.
Yeah.
North of Savannah, right in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because I could go to either Walmart to go shopping.
And that was in East or West Tennessee?
West.
Okay.
Between Bill and Memphis. So near Jackson. Like, Jackson was about 45 miles away. No, technically 45 miles on the interstate. So 30 miles plus 40 miles was Jackson. So about 70 miles.
Yeah. I said, actually, I was just talking about a plane that I flew, went down on a trip back from Jackson, and is no more.
The plane's no more?
Plane is no more.
You crashed it?
I didn't crash it. Somebody else crashed it. I flew it. I've got probably 30 hours in that plane. It belongs to a flight school. I'm positive that what happened is I'm pretty positive what happened is it was a solo flight, and it was a solo flight, probably cross country, probably like their 50 miler or something. So it's like early in their flight training. And then they flew from Murfreesboro to Jackson, landed, spent some time on the ground, got in it, flew, and we're flying back. There's one person on board. So that's why I think it was a solo student. And looks like they had a fuel issue, maybe an engine out, something like that. And looks like he tried to circle to land in a field and just didn't make the field and went into trees. I thought I had saved a picture of it, but I guess I didn't. Let me.
Your plane?
A Piper Cherokee.
But it was yours?
No. It was a pilot school. I mean, a flying school. No, my airplanes are not. Well, first of all, I wouldn't rent them, but.
No, well, I do commercial insurance too. So if you ever need commercial insurance.
Yeah. I never did commercial insurance, but aviation insurance is expensive as fuck.
Bet it is. That I don't do.
Not for normal plane. Like for normal planes, not that bad. But I have experimentals, and so getting insurance can be kind of tough. They want they want so much time in type, so much dual instruction. It's kind of it can be kind of an ordeal to just get insurance. And I had a friend of mine who was going through it, and they would not give him hull insurance, even though hull insurance is just the hull of the airplane, right? Like it's just the sitting on the ground, and if something happens to it, so they wouldn't give him ground insurance and basically just would not do it, and no matter for any amount of money or anything. So this is a plane that crashed.
Ouch.
Yeah, got walked out of it, no injuries.
What do they do? What do they do there? They come in, they do the investigation, right? Or no, they don't.
Yeah. The FAA is going to investigate. They're going to. I don't know where the pilot's obviously not there. That's a EMT guy or something, or a rescue worker there, looking at the airplane sitting on the ground. But so they'll do an investigation. They'll figure out what happened. I think it's a fuel issue because that airplane has wing tanks and there's no fire. So usually when you rip the wings off, there's at least a little fire, but maybe not. I mean, they do have self-sealing fuel tanks, so maybe in this case he got lucky. Didn't maybe it's didn't switch to the right fuel tank, or just had some other engine issue. You never know. But yeah, so this plane went, I've got probably 30, 35 hours in that airplane. I soloed that airplane at one point.
Have you talked to the?
No, I don't know who was flying it.
Oh, I didn't know if you knew, because a lot of times you could.
No.
I didn't,
No, I don't know. It's part of a flight school, so who knows? It could be any. I mean, there's probably 100 people that fly that airplane in a year. So,
well, but brother, I'm going to jump off here. I do appreciate you having me up, and I think this was a good discourse back and forth. I think that we didn't kill each other.
Yeah. So, let me ask you. So, given that Trump is not a Republican,
yeah, why
do you think the Democrats hate him so much? Because he is a Democrat.
I believe that it's not a hate. It's more of a hatred in his. One is, I think it's a hatred that he wants. He wants people to hate him if they're not on his side, right? We know that. That's just how Trump is. If you're not, he attacks you, he bashes you, he calls you a lunatic, and all this other stuff, right? So that fuels that feelings. And then I also believe because he is acting as a dictator. Now
I just don't see the dictator portion of it.
Well, you're saying he has to because Congress won't do their job.
No, I didn't. No, I said that he has to use executive orders. I just don't think the use of executive orders to get things done is not authoritarian.
Well, it is when you won't work with Congress on ones that you should be working with Congress on.
What do you think he should be working with Congress on?
One of the tariffs. If he would have did the tariffs and it would have went through Congress that way, we would have never had the Supreme Court situation. I also feel that he's also acting in regards to sending ICE and sending troops when the state doesn't want them. I believe in state sovereignty. If they don't want them, you can't send them. Now you can send immigration. That's different, but you can't send, I believe in state sovereignty, and I believe in the,
Hold on. So you can send you just said you can send immigration. Well, that's literally immigration and customs enforcement.
No. He sent National Guards. When you can't send National Guards without the state saying, yes, we need the National Guard.
But he did that to quell riots and protect federal buildings. That's not what he did. He didn't just willy-nilly send them in there.
Yeah, he did. He did it without. They have to ask the governor of the state. The president of the state is the governor. You still have to ask the governor of that's posse comitatus. You still have to ask, and they have to say, yes, please do it. If they say, no, we've got this, you can't just send in.
I think there was a ruling on that.
Yeah, that he lost, and that's why he had to pull them out of Washington and California. Trump lost that ruling.
I don't think so, but I'll look.
You can look. Okay.
Yeah, I'll look.
Longer in Washington and California, he had to pull them out. That was a pretty big. That was really. So that authoritarian.
Yeah, I think he won because of the supremacy clause and the fact that they weren't there to interfere with the state operations. They were only there to protect federal buildings. I think he won on that. I don't remember him losing on that.
We're saying okay. We'll have to agree to
disagree. In California or Washington and by Washington I mean DC. I don't believe that he lost on that.
DC is different. That's not a state. So DC is different.
Yeah, sure.
You can't send National Guard into that state, which he did, which he said he was going to do to fight crime. The military is not used for the purpose of crime. He literally said he's sending it there to fight crime. You can't do that.
Yeah. Crimes against the federal buildings, and he can do that. He's literally it's an enumerated power for him to do that. How can you not? How can you deny that?
Not what he said. He said
that is exactly what he said. He said we are going in to protect our federal property, and you know where all of those, every single National Guard post was in a federal building.
Oh.
Unless they were asked by the local police. Now that was the one thing was that if the local police asked for the National Guard to back them up, they did help them out.
No, they can't do that. The local police cannot ask the National Guard to help them with law enforcement activities. They cannot conduct law enforcement activities.
And they did not enforce law enforcement activities.
Yes, they did. That's why Trump.
Give me an example.
Well, that's why Trump was saying crime.
Give me an example of them doing that. You guys say this stuff all the time, and there's never an example of it.
What are you talking about? They were wandering.
They didn't arrest anyone that didn't assault them. They did not arrest anyone. And by the way, the National Guard would not arrest them. They would detain them until law enforcement showed up, and law enforcement would arrest them.
You know that I'm ex-Coast Guard. I'm federal law enforcement in the Coast Guard.
Great. Then you should know this and should not be arguing with me about it.
Yes, they were detained. They were walking the streets.
They were walking the streets in front of federal buildings to protect federal buildings.
So what are you talking about? They walked in front of restaurants.
No, come on, man.
I can show you the videos, but I'm not.
Give me the video.
Just pull up. Just you type this in. Just type in that National Guard were walking the streets. You didn't see them in front of restaurants?
I did not. I saw them in front of federal buildings. I saw them getting yelled at by protesters in front of federal buildings.
Okay. Well, then it's one of those things that seems to happen all the time. I didn't see that.
I'm waiting for you to show that to me.
Well, you type it in, pull it up. Just type it in, pull it up.
I'm not making the claim. I'm actually saying no. I didn't. I don't remember that at all. I very specifically remember. I remember specific incidents where the woman who spit on the National Guard guy who was just standing his post outside the federal building, and she spit on him, and he maced her, right? And he did not. I don't think he detained her. I think they just maced her.
National Guard was actively patrolling the streets.
Yeah, give it to me.
Oh, Christ. How do I do this again? This is why I hate doing this shit. Let me find a video.
You can throw it to me over on Discord, and I can do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just DM it to me on Discord.
Washington, D.C. Hang on, let me find the one that's outside of Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now Washington, D.C. for sure they were patrolling.
Yes. Let me type in, was this New Orleans? National Guard wrapping up patrols in New Orleans. How long ago was this? 18 hours ago? Here's 18 hours ago. Where's this? Where are you over here? Wait, I can just play. Can I just play?
I mean, I can't see it. Maybe the chat can. It's very small. I'm very far away from my nearest screen. I don't actually even normally look at the screens, but.
All right. Well, they're right there. Not.
Where is that? Is that outside of federal building? Oh, seems to be outside of federal building.
No, that's not outside of federal building. That's in.
What building is it? Just send me the link. Just click the link and put it over here. I'll put it right there.
They're literally saying it.
All right, here we go.
Let me find the other one.
Let me grab this.
He's deploying the National Guard in major cities. Oh, no. Oh, I'm not logging into Instagram. I'm sorry. That's just not...
Share. Screen. Entire screen. All right. Also, I don't have time to do this, chat. Somebody look and see if he has permission to do this from the governor of New Orleans. Or
because here's deploying on the streets of, was this Los Angeles?
No, they're serving the city of New Orleans.
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's lacking here is you telling me that the governor didn't invite them in or didn't give permission. So there's two examples that I can think of where the governor, or actually one example where the governor did not give permission for the National Guard to be deployed, and that is California.
And Illinois.
Yes, Chicago, and Chicago.
So that would be a.
So this is proving my point, not yours.
Yeah, but I'm playing Chicago on my end.
Okay, well, this is what you sent me.
No, I grabbed the wrong one.
Okay, all right. Well, give me the right one.
I'm grabbed the wrong one. I'm
okay,
literally.
Give me the right one.
You just know it's Chicago. You just said it was Chicago. We both agreed.
No, I know that he deployed them to Chicago, but they weren't patrolling. They were literally watching the buildings. They weren't walking the streets. You said they're walking the streets. This is them walking the streets for sure, 100%, but that's with permission and in backup of local law enforcement. Yes, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry requested and secured the deployment of up to 1,000 National Guard troops in September 2025 to combat violent crime and support law enforcement. Just like my governor, Bill Lee, requested support from the National Guard in Memphis.
So you understand law enforcement, the military can't do domestic law enforcement. You know that, though.
Correct. They're just there to back up the law enforcement. That's it.
So you wouldn't say that.
The National Guard, by the way, can do that. The National Guard is not the Army, the standing Army. The standing Army cannot do that. You were correct. The standing Army cannot do that. The National Guard can be deployed for peacekeeping roles.
No.
They can't. They can.
Purposes.
Yes, they can.
Without
they have. Now, they have to be. It has to be very carefully weighted because of what happened in the National Guard massacre thing back in the 60s or 70s.
There's been multiple ones.
No, like a guy got shot in the face. It's right there. I can even see the black and white video in my head. Somebody help me out here. Kent State, thank you very much, EOD. Thank you. Kent State.
We're gonna agree to disagree on this because I'm saying that he can't do it without permission of the governor. You're agreeing with me on that, but I'm showing you that they are walking the streets for Illinois and San Francisco.
No, you did not. Oh wait, here we go. I just got the link. Sorry guys, I was looking at the wrong screen.
Do you believe he can blow up boats from Venezuela without Congress?
Fucking literally. That's one thing that we'll absolutely agree.
Do you believe he could shoot that boat that was shipwrecked? That he killed the people the second time?
It was shipwrecked?
Yes.
How was it shipwrecked? Did it hit a rock?
Hitting a rock is not considered shipwrecked.
I'm asking you, how was it shipwrecked?
It was unable to make way.
That doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. It does.
No. Actually, I had a lawyer. I listened to a pair of lawyers debate this, and both of them agreed that because there was no way to determine had the enemy been rendered hors de combat, and they could have been using a radio to call in reinforcements or aiming a weapon at.
Doesn't matter.
It does. It absolutely matters. 100% matters. And I listened to an entire argument between two lawyers about it, and they both ended up agreeing that is the case, that Hegseth didn't do anything wrong. Now, had Hegseth waited 10 minutes or 15 minutes and been able to get something there and determine that no shots have been fired or whatever, and no signal's been intercepted, now that would have changed things. But because it was almost instant, it doesn't change things. And actually, there's case law to back that up. I'm sorry, you're just wrong on this one. You should just accept that you're wrong. Why is this not showing?
You understand that, right?
I'm sorry?
Postcard. You can overtalk me all you want.
I'm not overtalking you.
Give you examples of Germans that do this. The Pinelli thing. I'd have to look up how to spell it. That was a situation that ended up. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I have an echo.
Your mic is like super weird.
Okay, why?
I mean, it's been weird this whole time, but it's like super weird.
That's a war crime. If you shoot people that are shipped, and I can give
war. Again, Not shipwrecked, because you don't know that, and they're not there, and if they're still capable of combat, and by the way, they have ruled that even being able to use a radio is still being in combat. Or
not maritime.
Some in Chicago are on edge as President Trump signals National Guard troops will be headed there next. The governor of Illinois says it's part of the president's targeting of Democratic states and cities.
You do
Chicago's a
threaten to send them, right? Yeah, okay.
They don't acknowledge it, and they say, we don't need them, freedom.
Go talk to the people of Chicago who are enjoying a gorgeous afternoon in this city, and ask if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator.
Over the weekend, National Guard troops deployed in Washington, D.C. began
carrying
pistols and rifles. They've been told to use them only for self-defense or as a last resort.
Okay. You understand?
Yeah, there's something going on your end, man. I don't know what's up.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, let me knock that out.
I want to try something.
Yeah, there you go. Just us again.
Test. Okay, the echo's gone. It's something with the sharing. So I don't know how to mute that.
Okay.
You understand, during times of war, once a ship is basically sunk or shipwrecked or upside down and you have people floating on it, you can't just open fire at those people.
If they've been rendered orders to combat. Do you understand the term?
Yeah, I understand the term because I had to take this training in the Coast Guard.
Right. Okay. So if they can still shoot at you, or call in backup, yes, that's legal precedent. Or call that, literally, that's been ruled on, that if they can call in reinforcements, that counts. Yeah, okay. We're going to disagree on that and I'm going to take the lawyer's word over yours. Okay.
SOS. And that is not combat.
And by the way, the lawyer was Pisco. Pisco was actually one of the ones who was like, yeah, he's on the fence about it.
Pisco is not a maritime lawyer. I'm telling you, I've taken training in this.
I understand that you've taken training in this. I'm also telling you what people who have won the cases and who have examined the case law have said, that this is the Coast Guard is entirely different. So I don't know what to tell you.
Is actually the only one that has jurisdiction for maritime law enforcement. The Navy and the Marines and they don't.
Coast Guard rules are quite different than military rules. I assume that's true. I don't know.
It's maritime law. It's not military law. It's not the same.
Grumple, do you have? I mean, you're a Marine guy. Do you? What do you know about this? I know what I'm just telling you that because the Coast Guard's not fucking involved. It's the Navy shooting down boats.
No, that's it.
That's a different thing.
Coast Guard jurisdiction.
There's no jurisdiction there.
Yes, there is. It's called maritime law.
Yeah. Okay. Were they in the 12-mile zone?
No, they were in international.
Okay, all right. So now it's international maritime law. And by the way, it's a military operation. So your Coast Guard bullshit doesn't matter. And so therefore the rules of war apply. And the rules of war say if you are not rendered orders to combat, you are still considered a combatant and you can still be shot at.
Can you not talk over the top of me for 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. When you are in maritime law, it falls under Coast Guard jurisdiction. It doesn't matter if it's within 12 nautical miles or international waters. Coast Guard has law enforcement jurisdiction under maritime. We have detachments that go on Navy ships because the Navy can't do the law enforcement that the Coast Guard can do. That's why we have detachments. So it doesn't matter. It's not law unless Congress declared war. Then it falls under that. But even then, radioing for help can be the same as an SOS, meaning we need assistance. We have to render aid. We can't kill them. Now, when you're doing military and you have soldiers that are going back, that's different on the land than it is on the water. We don't have that same situation. So when that boat was flipped upside down and they were floating to it, that has now become a rescue mission. The same way that if I'm fighting somebody and I'm in my uniform and they're fighting over my gun and he falls in the water, I can't shoot him. I can't shoot him if he comes up saying I can't swim. I can't say, "Oh, sorry for you, buddy." Bang, bang. I can't do that. So no, Peace Corps doesn't understand maritime law, and maritime law is different than war law, meaning land, meaning on the land.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to tell you how you're wrong. First of all, Chuck Schumer signed the bill that allowed us to blow the fuck out of drug traffickers, and and everybody was all for that, and absolutely he did. President Trump didn't need a declaration of war to do what he did, and that's also a point that you lose right out of the gate. You're wrong. You're just wrong about it, and you can't admit that you're wrong. Here's a problem with you, Sage. You're a really intelligent person. You really are, but you just simply can't get past your own predilections. You are actually factually wrong that Trump couldn't do what he did. You absolutely are wrong. Now, all right, hold on. I let you talk. I sat here very quietly while you talked, and I did not interrupt you as you asked. Now,
3 minutes left.
Now, we actually did, in fact, have the ability and the right to blow up boats. In war, by the way, it actually has been ruled, while you as a Coast Guard guy probably couldn't because you're more or less a maritime cop, a soldier actually can shoot someone who is still got a weapon, even if they're in the water, if they've still got a weapon or the ability to use a weapon, such as a radio. A radio has been termed a weapon, by the way.
No, a radio is not determined.
You can blow them to kingdom come. Now, that's just the fact. You don't have to like it. I don't particularly like it because, to be honest with you, I would have actually rather we caught them, but that's irrelevant to the legal case. Legally, it was legal.
Not considered a weapon under maritime law.
Well, we were under rules of war.
You're in the water.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it does.
It does not.
Yes, it does. That's
well,
why we have
apparently every attorney in the world disagrees with you.
Not every attorney agrees. You're crazy. I'll find you hundreds that will agree with me.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead. Go find it and come back and we can argue about it. I know you got to go, and I'm sorry. Your mic keeps I see your lips moving, and then I hear 3 words.
Yeah, it's got to be your system because I don't have this issue ever, other than this system, this talk studio thing.
It works fine for most people, but I don't know.
I've got a Rodecaster and a $400 microphone. I think I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I appreciate it, brother. We're gonna have to agree.
Yeah, it's a good combination. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it.
I'll see you.
Yeah. All right, man. See you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was interesting enough. He's arguing the same thing was arguing during the Bush administration, and it was argued on out to the end. Enemy combatant. Yes, I know. I'm aware. He's just factually wrong. It's okay. It's okay to argue with me, but when you're just factually wrong, you're wrong. So, yeah, there's never going to be any. It's not illegal. That's the problem. So, guys, the problem with these impromptu things is the one thing I've noticed about the lefties is I think they all have a file with their talking points lined out, and they're just waiting to throw out shit. And I'm like, I'm just going off the cuff, baby. I'm just arguing to argue. And I'm almost out of coffee. Anybody else want to come up for a few minutes and jibber jabber? We can talk airplanes, cars, guns, knives, love, sex, war, especially war. We like war, right? We all like war. Also, the idea that America cannot compete in the world market. Grand Designs, it's not an actual open panel, but if you have me on Discord, hit me up on Discord and I will throw you the link. Post-it notes all over the wall with string. I do not have that. I probably need that. You have the green one? The green one's good. Grand Designs, hit me on Discord, brother, and I'll bring you up. I'll even throw out the link to my actual Discord, so you have it. Then, matter of fact, everybody can have it. Everybody go join the Discord. You want to. We do cool things there, and it's awesome. So, come on up. We'll talk for another few minutes. the liberal panels. I'm not a leftist, Anson, you bastard. The smugglers don't care about rules of engagement. That's true. That's true. Discord has 3 days left. Is Discord going away? I didn't know that. I hope not. I put a lot of time and effort into that. By the way, welcome in, Grumpelstiltskin. Good to see you. I am glad to see that you're out and about. Hopefully you're doing well. If you're not, I'm sorry to hear it. Discord's new policies take effect in March. What new policies are those? Oh, age verification? That's fine. Don't give any biometrics or ID scans. I hate that face scan shit, and it's just weird. My wife uses that on her phone sometimes, and which is fine because she's pretty and I'm not. But I just can't do the face recognition shit. I'm gonna break Discord. All right. Wants to upload their face for age verification. Interesting. Probably not going to do that. I mean, I understand that Discord's been getting some heat lately because, that kid down in Atlanta that shot up his school had some nonsense going on there on Discord in a private chat room that was monitored by the FBI. Discord is 100% not to be trusted. The company is shady. Policies are obfuscated, and they're already had a very public breach with 60,000 members' information leaked like less than 6 months ago. I think the more concerning thing is it seems like the FBI has absolute willy-nilly control over it. Grand Designs, did you want to come up? I don't see you anywhere in my Discord. If you want to come up, that's great. What's up, JE Kitchens? Currently, they're backpedaling. Cool. Yeah, that's true. I saw that. I had a real live leftist on last night, Grumple. You should have seen it. It was awesome. You'd be so proud of me. I kept him from spurging out. I am doing the debate show this weekend, 100%. You going to be there, Anson? I need my judges, man. We're getting band back together. Cleaner, Anson, Tyler, maybe Glenn Lawrence. We're getting the band back together, baby. I did put my Discord link here. Yeah, we're going to get the band back together. We're going to make some stuff happen. It's going to be awesome. Got to go. I think I'm going to end up having to go to a chiropractor and get my back cracked because I've got a stiffness that stretching is just not. It helps, but it just doesn't make it go away. I'm getting old enough now where I got to go to the guy who the torture guy that cracks your back and stuff. Ugh, crazy. Grump, you could be a judge as well, even though I kind of abuse the judges every once in a while. It's all right. Welcome in, J.E. Kitchens. Grand Design, if I still don't see over there in my Discord, man. Are you trying to get in? If not, maybe I can work something out. I can just drop the link just let you up. He's a prepper. That's probably true. Over the next few days, I'm working on releasing a bunch of audio and video for hold on, let me put this up here before I forget. I lost my train of thought. All right. You told a guy who's about to debate Rob Noor later in the day about Christian nationalism and secularism. He will probably message you in Discord too. If he's going to debate Rob Noor on those, he's going to get destroyed. Yeah. Good to see everybody in here. Over the next few days, as I was saying, I will be producing, editing, and releasing a bunch of gun prattle content. A lot of it's going to have to do with how to travel to matches, how to he can join. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the actual link over on Twitch. The deal is that if I don't know you, you're going to have to cam up. We can do it behind. We can do it off stage, but you're going to have to cam up so I know that you're a real human and you're not going to P-bomb me or anything stupid like that, because I don't know you. All right. So, I'll be dropping some gun prattle content. I'm actually going to also do a gun prattle on a bunch of the gun laws, that what you think has happened, what has actually happened, and what I think is going to happen coming up. It's every day that I get a bunch of content from various YouTube creators that say, "Oh, the Supreme Court has decided this," and they actually haven't. Okay, thank you, Grumple. So, Seer Car, okay. Seeker, okay. Cool, man. Chiropractors are good for getting your DMV call physical done. Okay. I apparently missed another post. Disagree with chiropractic care. I've done it. And to me, it's only been a temporary fix. Yeah. Well, I don't have like a permanent injury to my back. It's just I've got a stiffness in my back that just I know needs to. What I really need is a physical therapist to bend me and stretch me and things like that. But the problem is I don't think I can just go to a physical therapist without having a prescription for a physical therapist. So I don't know. But I got to get my back is not terrible, but it's not great. I got to get it sorted out. The Democrat brains are scrambled. Yeah, that's true. Democrats' brains are scrambled. Don't need to unscramble them. That's true. Yeah, that one law guy always says to me, there's actually a lot of gun tubers that are lawyers that have moved into the gun tuber space, and a lot of times it's just a bunch of theory and stuff, and it's going to be look, right now, what I think is happening, and I'll go deep into this, there's a half a dozen or more cases in front of the Supreme Court right now that deal with various rifle bans, assault weapon bans, magazine bans, and basically all of the bans that counties, cities, and states have put into place. And what it looks like to me, and I think a lot of other people, is that the Supreme Court's been waiting for a bunch of these cases to come to them in such a way that they can basically rule on all of them. And if they do that, it's going to be epic, because that means a California ban. I honestly believe that this may do away with all of California's gun laws, like all of them, in one fell swoop. Magazine ban, ammo registry, require a license requirement to buy ammunition, and all of that. I think if this does happen, this is kind of like Gunmageddon, okay? Because they're going to prevent all of these states, all of these cities, all of these counties from being able to ban specific firearms or types of firearms or ammunition. And basically, I think they're going to take most of the regulatory power out of the state and put it back with the federal government. If that happens, and I think it's going to be absolutely epic. And what I think happened is the Supreme Court thought they made it very clear in Bruin that they didn't want to, that they weren't putting up with this nonsense, right? Like they no longer cared about they no longer cared to rule on individual cases. They thought they made themselves clear in Bruin. And yet you still have California, Chicago, New Jersey, New York, and other states that have various bans and controls in place where they probably shouldn't. And I think that the Supreme Court, for the most part, I think they're pissed because they feel like that they made themselves clear and the states are opposing them out of spite or whatever, or just out of grandiose behavior, however you want to look at it. And I think this is one time where the Supreme Court is going to try and send like a very strong message. That's what it seems like because of the sheer volume of cases that they're allowing to collect, and it looks like they're going to rule on them all at the same time. What's up, Seeker? How do you say that?
Seeker. It's
okay.
It's like sear, like a
steak. Sear car. Okay, I got you.
Exactly like that. The bar is because I accidentally, I can't remember my login for my original Twitch username back when I used to stream League. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So my chat's telling me that you're a wild commie. Is that true?
No.
Well, I mean, coming from Anson Knowles' commie, he probably thinks I'm a commie. So it's all right.
No, I think governmentally wise, I'd probably, and this is in like a loose breath, identify as like a classical liberal, at least with governmental principles.
I have a great question for you.
Sure.
Before we get started. So, well, I'm going to preface this by saying that Donald Trump is not a conservative. Donald Trump is a liberal. He is a Democrat. Now, he is a blue dog Democrat, classic liberal, centrist Democrat, whatever subset of Democrat you want to put him in, he's a Democrat, right? And he always has been. We all know that. Why is the left hates him so much?
I agree with your first point. I disagree with the second.
You disagree with the second? You don't think the left hates him?
I don't think he has an allegiance to any ideology. I think he's valueless.
That could be. Could be. I mean, he's a businessman, and most businessmen tend to be.
No, they're not one-dimensional assholes.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're multi-dimensional assholes. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Sweets, and I'm gonna be honest, they're not all dicks like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. It's just it's an interesting observation for me, right? Like, it's like the ultimate in self-hate. Like he's you, but he's not you, but he's. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So
I also disagree with that. I think Trump is not even remotely close to me.
Really? Well, all right. Okay. All right. Maybe not. All right. So let me.
When it comes to politics, right? I
Yeah.
identify with classical liberalism in a way. It's
Mhm.
in a lot of ways it is the birth of conservatism, right? It guarantees the right to private property. We're talking
Sure.
about Lockean philosophy.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. I would say that in their purest form, conservatism and liberalism are not that far apart. It comes down to some ideological things, but and if you boil it very, very far down and you get to what we would consider pure, they're not that far apart, right? However,
the main demarcation happens when Edmund Burke is introduced. He split a little bit of classical liberalism in like the 1800s or the late 1700s, right?
Okay.
He was like a monarchist in a way. A lot of his writings are among what people think conservatism is bounded, but I think it starts with the right to private property.
That's possible. I'm not going to argue against it, but I would say that what's actually happened is you have socialist communists that have preempted the classical liberal party or classical liberal ideals, and one of the things that really set this off was the collapse of communism in other countries, and so then
really quick,
yeah,
those two things are different. But my main question is, do you think communism is a reaction to something, or do you think it's born out of nothing?
I don't understand. I don't understand the motivation for communism. So I can see the argument for it being an outgrowth of tribalism, right?
It's a response to something. Same way fascism is as well.
Yeah.
Famously, it was called the third position by Mussolini, right? Fascism in and of itself, but the second position is communism is a reaction to classical liberalism not performing well. So it doesn't actually exist without capitalism and classical liberalism existing. Does that make sense?
I think I would argue against it, but I don't want. I mean, it's not the subject of the. It'd make an interesting discussion for later. So, what did you actually want to come up here for? Because I get off on tangents, man.
You're okay. So do I. What do you believe? I heard you talking about the Supreme Court right now. Are you someone who believes Trump is doing? Actually, why don't we just talk about Trump for a second? Do you think Trump's administration is good, positive, negative? How do you feel?
There are things he does that I don't particularly like. It's not a question whether I agree with it or not. It's just a matter of like at this point. And for the most part, I think that he's at least in the right direction. I know people disagree with that, and that's fine. I just spent an hour and a half arguing with another fellow over tariffs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have because I understand that Trump is a Democrat, and a lot of the things he does that just don't surprise me. They're what a Democrat would do, right? And so I guess, I'll take my wins where I get them, I guess, is what I'll say. So,
I mean, he used to identify as a Democrat, right? But
no,
I think we can just talk, huh? And before the 2000s, he identified as one. He
identified as one. Yeah, I thought you said I. Yeah, I thought you said you. I thought you said you.
I'm not really interested in trying to label you. I don't know you.
Yeah. I was like, no, I didn't.
Trump though, I think we can just take him at his actions, right? So, for me, just so I can clear the air a little bit, I studied econometrics. I'm a pluralist when it comes to economics, so I think that most schools of economics have something to offer depending on what's going to be best for the country. Obviously, communism, in my opinion, is not really viable because the pure communistic aspect of it, the stateless, moneyless society, ultimately becomes capitalist via its labor. So people become
the capital,
or people become the actual money that they want to get rid of.
Yeah, right.
And then it destroys the vehicle for investment. So communism in general is not really going to work because it just presupposes that money and essentially what we identify as wealth will just cease to exist. But people will become the wealth and capital themselves.
Yeah, that's an ANCAP philosophy as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's many different types of communism. Like Rosa Luxemburg writes about like the eternal revolution of the individual against the state, and there's like political communism. But for the most part, I kind of am a pluralist again. So when it comes to economics in particular, I feel like there's ways to optimally do things through the government sometimes, and most of the time, optimally better done through a private system or a private enterprise.
Okay.
Night, Dennis. Now, when it comes to Trump, okay. Why do you think he's doing a lot of things in the right?
For the most part, for the most part, I think that he is actually trying to move private business forward and trying to move some of the state interest out. Obviously, he's not going to do that. It would take 20 years to accomplish what's needed to accomplish, I think. And I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there, but not by much. I think that Trump has done a lot of really good things, and I think that, I had a guy. Sorry.
How do you feel about Trump? How do you feel about Trump unilaterally creating deals with other countries and private businesses on behalf of using the state as a vehicle? So, like the $600 billion deal with Saudi Arabia that includes allowing Datavolt, a Saudi Arabian company, to invest up to $80 billion in AI energy infrastructure. Do you think that is private enterprise, or do you think that is Trump essentially doing a corporatist steering?
I think it's corporate engineering. I think that what Trump is doing is trying to bring business into the U.S. or cultivate those outlets.
Shouldn't we let private companies do that, though?
I would love for private companies to do that. I don't think that I don't think at this point that the vehicle is there for them to do that.
Well, sometimes, in my opinion, the Saudi Arabian deal, right? I don't want a Saudi Arabian company to actually make energy infrastructure in the U.S. I think that's a fucking bad idea.
Sure, right. Okay, fair enough. However, we have regulations in place that prevent a private corporation, like if you wanted to do it, for example. I don't know how much money you have, but let's say you had an extra 150 billion laying around.
Enough to do that.
Let's just say you did. Let's say you had 150 billion, and you're going to go and you go over and you say, hey, I really would like to get you guys over here. I think it would really help us all out because, AI is the future. It's going to be global at some point. I'm sure there'll be bumps along the way, but I would rather work with you now than you compete against you later.
So you're okay with the president kind of taking over a lot of these roles then and not really doing it through private enterprise then, right?
Right. Yeah, but right now I think that the regulations that the state puts in place prevents private industry from doing that directly.
They can. Like nuclear, for instance. Nuclear is heavily regulated.
Well, AI is somewhat regulated right now.
Change that. How do you feel about Trump essentially creating pressers and dinners with the top pharmaceutical companies and publicly says good job to each of them in this little presser, this little dinner meeting that he has? Do you think that is Trump allowing free enterprise, or do you think he's kind of aligning a loyalty to the president in this regard?
So, it's kind of like, just not picking any one specific instance here, but both of the things that you've kind of outlined is the idea that a politician is negotiating on behalf of the nation so that our corporations can do business with their corporations. And the reason that kind of has to happen is because there are borders, because there are different laws between the countries. A lot of times international business does...
I'm talking about internally now.
I'm sorry?
I'm talking about internally only. So
internally,
the top pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. Or like another one is a tech dinner where you had. I don't know how you feel about
I guess I don't have a problem with him doing it at all much, really. I would prefer that, obviously. I think I would always prefer for private businesses to be able to do that. But again, we have regulations, we have government entities, we have my industry and my former industry.
I agree, by the way. I want private companies to be able to do most of this without fear of the executive essentially reducing their ability to operate within the market, or out of fear, out of capitulation not happening, right? So Trump publicly does these things so he can essentially align the interest of these corporations with his interest, right? Now, do you feel like that is appropriate, or do you think legislation, even lobbying, for instance,
when you
is kind
say
of similar to
his
this, but it's
interest,
done
though,
through a different pathway?
So, well, first of all, I'd have to understand what you mean by his interest, right? Like, it seems to me like his interest is always furthering American business. So he's not going out and doing that deal for him, right? He's going out there and doing that deal to bring in a company that then is, reaches out to 5 other companies, and it's a big deal, right? So I don't think you're characterizing it the way that I would. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I mean, I don't know, but
I actually can't really make the claim yet that he is like scamming the country yet. Obviously, I'm not going to make that, but
sure.
My problem here is more about like the fact that it's capable now. So historically, the president doesn't handle unilateral, deals between private companies.
Well, historically, they
facilitate them, right?
Yeah, but historically they have, right? Presidents
do not do that. No, they usually follow legislation. Yeah.
No, come on. Throughout history, we've had presidents go down, pre
FDR and the Antitrust Act, and I guess that would be legislation, right?
Well, that's legislation that FDR put in place to kind of hold things back. But what I'm talking about is you have pre-JFK, you had before all the Cuban Missile Crisis and everything, you had multiple presidents going down and working deals with Cuba to open hotels for our businesses to do business there. We had who was it? Who was president at the time? Not Taft. I'm so bad with this, but we did massive trade deals and corporate deals, which, at that time, I mean, really corporate was a small thing, but with Germany and France.
The executive branch historically has had a long history of enacting essentially violence on companies that have left the United States. And when they need help, like you can think of Guatemala and the Banana Republic. That's where the word comes from, right?
Yeah.
With the United Fruit Company. The United States went down to protect the interest of a private company, but
sure, I
don't think they've unilaterally, just created a United Fruit Company in Guatemala, right? It's more like they went to protect the interest of a private company in the U.S. already.
Well, sure, but Dole, for example, which was based in Hawaii, which at the time was a territory, not a state. The fellow who owned Dole owned massive plantations and properties in Cuba, pre-Cuban, pre-Che, right? Pre-revolution. Absolutely, the executive branch facilitated him doing business there. Absolutely, it did. The president did. The president's advisors did. The cabinet.
Dole asked for help from the government, then, right? To do business there?
I don't know I don't know if I would use the word asked. I would say that
Dole was the company that was essentially
they were doing business there, and they wanted to do more business there, and they went down.
And like the U.S. president, then just no private company involved, just unilaterally doing the deal, then, right?
Yeah, I don't think he did that with no private company involved, but he definitely and now I'm trying to think of the order because I haven't actually thought about this in a while, but I'm struggling to get the order right because Dole already existed, but they were building hotels and air service and all of that when we to Cuba. I believe this is Hemingway's time, post World War II. And then we look at the airlines who the president and his advisors were working with Churchill and the English government to get air service from from New York to London direct. I don't know if it was nonstop yet, but I think it was pretty close. I think maybe they landed in Iceland and then went to the UK, then to France. So, but at any rate, absolutely, these were companies that pre-existed, sure, but they were definitely being connected through the executive branch and politics. And I think that we've got a long history of presidents looking out for American interest, except when we start talking about like, well, I mean, even if we want to pick up the Burisma deal that Obama and Biden started in Ukraine, and at the time they were operating in both Ukraine and Russia. Obviously, they ended up getting kicked out of Russia, but Biden through his son were working oil deals with Burisma, and not necessarily specifically oil deals, but other things. And that was the executive branch doing that.
That was not the executive branch. There's no connection between Hunter Biden and his father.
I mean,
there's been no connection proven there.
Okay.
We have 9 years of congressional investigation, and
we do have that. We do have the recording of the 10% for the big guy to the Chinese. But you're right. We only have and probably the reason we don't have that is because the prosecutor was fired that was investigating it, and we don't know what that guy knew, and we never will. Unfortunately,
I can't speak to Hunter Biden specifically, but
yeah,
Joe Biden has no connection to that whatsoever. There's never been able to prove that.
Yeah.
Also, something of interest. I don't know if you know this, but Joe Biden was the longest-serving civil servant in this country's history, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that he's
a lot of damage.
Least wealthy?
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of damage.
He's one of the least wealthy.
Yeah.
In this country. As in, like, he's probably one of the least wealthy individuals in Congress, even though he has been there historically now the longest in history.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that is an odd thing.
You would think unreasonable to assume that he was doing it for money. If your opinion probably is valid, I'm just going to say that I don't really agree with Biden's politics that much. He's not a fascist like I think Trump is, and I'm pretty sure I can argue that well. But that has never been proven. Hunter Biden used his dad's name, I'm pretty sure, to try and help his own ends, but Joe Biden has never been able to be connected to them.
Yeah.
And there's tons of investigations through the Oversight Committee that we can go over if you like. I feel like we don't need to, but tens of millions of dollars has been spent on this, and there's never been a single shred of evidence. Yeah.
I'm just going to say that I don't know and I don't think we'll ever know. So, it is what it is. Oh, there you go. You posted some links back there. That was the dinging that I was hearing. Okay, cool. Sorry. I'll look into it. That's all right. I was like, I've got Discord and all kinds of things open. So I was like, what did I not mute?
So I gave you TrumpRx.gov, Trump accounts, and then a specific dinner where Trump is. If you watch the video at the end, the last link.
Sure.
My main problem with Trump's style of, let's just say, executive management. All right, we'll just say executive management. So him trying to help facilitate the interests of the American public. To me, when you watch this video, and I think Trump kind of exemplifies this every day, he's not really interested in trying to better these companies. He's looking for loyalty, right? If you want, we can watch it's like 3 minutes, but if you pay attention to his line of questioning and how he acts and what he's looking for from each of these people, he wants them to tell him good news, and personal loyalty is far much of a greater interest of him.
I believe you. I think that's I think that's within keeping it within Trump's character. I think that he does value loyalty probably above anything.
That's a good thing we agree, because now we've hit one of the basic tenets of fascism, right? Which is fascist corporatism, or a hyper consolidation of private and state enterprise using corporatist steering. So the definition of corporatism, okay, is general interest bargaining with an alignment towards the state. So like a hyper consolidation of private and state enterprise, which is ultimately what I don't want. And Trump, in my opinion, seems to want to be taking over a lot of things like TrumpRx I sent you. Shouldn't that be a private enterprise if we care about capitalism?
But would it not be a private enterprise?
Trump is. We have no information on this website, by the way, so I'm going to be careful when I say this.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this money is going into this site. I have no idea where the proceeds go to. They go to the Treasury, and then it's just somewhere. All of this is novel. I literally, there's no information on it. Now, there's a controller when you look at the back end financial documentation. But the Treasury Secretary hasn't chosen one yet, so I have no idea what the fuck is happening when people buy stuff here. But he's essentially doing a corporatist steering. It seems to me that he has no problems consolidating private and state enterprise if it means loyalty above all, which is.
I think you're drawing the conclusion you want to. I don't agree with. First of all, I don't agree that just because Trump prefers loyalty above pretty much anything else, that doesn't necessarily identify him as a fascist, right?
No, it's one tenet of it. It's a framework. So fascism is not something that we can just.
It's also a framework. It's also a framework of basically every other mentality out there, except for deceptive people. So I mean, I want people to be.
It has architecture that we can identify. If we don't allow for that, by the way, man, then we have no diagnostic to even say what fascism is. So
because I don't believe Trump's a fascist. And I think it's a stretch to say that he's a fascist. Just like the guy who was here earlier was claiming that Trump is an authoritarian simply because he uses executive orders to get things done and doesn't go through Congress. So, well,
he's
obviously,
doing it unconstitutionally. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's doing it unconstitutionally. That is for sure.
Which part is unconstitutional? Would you say?
Okay, so let's just take the 14th Amendment one.
Sure.
Executive orders are meant to do what?
Clarify laws for the most part.
They're meant to direct federal agencies underneath the executive. That's it. So creating an executive order that is supposed to reinterpret the constitutional amendments, do you see how this is a very bad thing?
Well, hold on.
Is that not constitutional or is that unconstitutional?
That's interesting framing, because if you're saying it's direct federal
framing, it's reality.
Okay, it's good framing, because what you're actually saying is I say I still consider this as defining the law, but it's okay. Directing the federal agency
supposed to do that through executive orders,
directing federal agency is sure fine. When he says this is how the federal agency, this is now the standard for this agency, right? Then that would be.
Does the executive power and branch allow it to judicially make inferences on amendments? Is that in the Constitution?
If it's being, not in and of itself, but the way an agency interprets it, it does.
How it's supposed to enforce already given interpretations. Yes, there's some leeway, but this is not what that is. This is him taking a clear sentence, him taking a clear sentence that's already been ruled on, okay? And him saying, actually, this is the new interpretation. This is completely not even close to his purview, his jurisdiction as executive.
It seems historically to be exactly within his purview.
Which case law are you referring to?
Well, I'm actually not referring to any case law. I don't have any brought up.
If you want to change the judicial interpretation of an amendment, you need to refer to case law, not the executive.
I'm simply referring to the fact that basically every president has used executive orders in the exact same way.
Not in this way.
In the exact same way.
I would like you to give me 3 executive orders that come remotely close to trying to overturn an amendment.
Yeah, I would, but I'm not. I didn't prepare for this argument, so I'm not.
There is none. There is none. There is none.
Well, I mean, I would love to trust you on that, but
I don't trust me. Don't take my word for it. Just go look up yourself if you are curious. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
he is using them in a way that is unheard of.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because if such were the case, right? If I'm to believe what you're telling me, which I don't, but if I were, what I'd have to believe is that when in 2014 through when Trump came into office and undid all of the Biden-Obama EOs and put his own in place. And then in 2020, or pardon me, 2016 when he came in. 2016 when he came in. In 2020 when Biden came in, and he undid all of Biden's EOs and put his own in again,
Sure.
then what we would have to say, and then Biden would then at that point, you would be making that claim of Biden, right?
I don't think Biden has ever tried to overturn an amendment with an executive order.
Well, I think that you're making a claim that I don't believe is in evidence, and so I think there's a long history of how the executive orders are used, and Trump is within the framework of how they're used. Now he might be pushing the envelope.
I don't know how you could make that argument, man. If we're having a real debate right now, it'd be a really hard position to defend. That's all I'm going to say.
Sure, maybe, but I don't think if we're having a real debate and I was prepared, I would have examples of this and I would be able to cite a bunch of things. I don't know why my
screen froze.
My screen froze. That's
okay.
odd. That's all right. So we're not. Which amendment do you think that he's attempting to overturn? What claim is
It's
that?
the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment is something that
hold on. He's trying to go through Congress to do that, is he not?
No, he's not. If he did, he would be trying to whip Congress and make a bill.
Sure,
I thought that was three-fourths of the states to do this. I'm going to be honest with you, man. The 14th Amendment is actually something I think Democrats and Republicans would actually agree to change if he tried. Most people think it's being used inappropriately. Why hasn't he done that?
I agree with that.
I don't know, because he doesn't care about the Constitution. That's just my opinion, but
sure, you're welcome to that opinion.
Yeah. Something further. We were talking about something before the constitutionality, though, right? It was
sure.
Trump's fitting the fascist framework. There's a definitional framework to fascism, right? It is important that we're able to diagnose it before it happens. If you can only diagnose fascism by the end state, this is called the end state trap, then we're making a mistake. So in the architecture of fascism, okay, I think I could argue a bunch of different ways in which Trump completely exemplifies each of the tenets in my framework. And this is my
we can argue. You can argue for anything. You could argue the sky is green and not blue, but
sure, that's not what I'm doing.
I think in a lot of ways it is.
Okay.
I think in a lot of ways your basic, and again, I deal with this a lot, where people come up and they'll say something like, well, I'm not really a leftist, but this is why I think Trump is this, right? Or I think this is he's doing this, and this is unconstitutional. And some of the things I actually would probably agree that what he's doing is unconstitutional. And just as a matter of fact, they just had he just got his hand slapped for I forget what the ruling was, the tariffs, right? And I think
ignored him, right?
Well, I think that he's trying to back channel it, which may or may not work. I don't know. It's he doesn't give up, right? He's he doesn't give up, and that's fine. Sorry,
who's going to stop him?
Well, Supreme Court, and then
they don't have the authority to do that. Supreme Court.
That's true.
This is how it only works. The Supreme Court can ask for a marshal to come arrest someone who's not following the rules, but we're in kind of a new territory here, man. There's only one branch of the government that has an army.
Yep.
I don't really see a world. Personally, I'm a little more of a doomer. I think, again, Trump is a fascist who I don't really know if it's going to be. It won't be like the Nazis. It'll be something new. There's no such thing as someone who's a Nazi anymore. And what I mean by that is there's no such thing as someone being the Nazis. So it's just another fascist movement, though. Where it's going to go, I can't say for sure. But ultimately, it seems to me that Trump is every day breaking constraints unilaterally through the executive branch, which again is another tenet of fascism. And who's going to stop him at some point, right? We're setting a permission structure to where many things are acceptable already, right? He can kind of already just ignore court orders and judicial courts. He just says that they're invalid if they rule against him. He says he likes them if they rule for him. So what do you think we should do if he decides to just ignore them entirely now?
I think it's a stretch to say that he would ignore them entirely.
Well, so far on the major issues,
I don't have an answer for that. I really actually don't have an answer for that.
To me, it worries me. And it's not because I'm like anti-conservative or, a leftist again. I know you hear that a lot, but I form my opinions for myself. So when I say that I think he's dangerous, I would have no problems voting for someone like even Ronald Reagan back in the day. There was a part of my life where I value libertarian ideas pretty heavily in a lot of my thoughts. I think that Fantasyland libertarians are weird, but I can kind of understand ideology across.
What kind of libertarians are weird? I'm sorry.
I call them Fantasyland libertarians, but it's just like Ayn Rand objectivists. Libertarian philosophy is something I value, right? So I want this to be very clear. When I say Trump's dangerous, it's not because of some political interests. So.
Yeah, I find I have a friend of mine who is a ANCAP, and he's hilarious. Like I actually really enjoy kind of hanging out with him, and he's off the charts. Like he is just off the charts.
I definitely don't understand ANCAPs that much. I think it's not really a fruitful idea. It doesn't really work in reality.
I get what they want. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, again, in a communist society, the breakdown of money, if you think you can get rid of it, it inevitably, let's say we turn everything into co-ops, right? No more capitalist enterprise. What ends up happening is co-ops can vary in size because that's how reality works. So you get capital firms, but now with co-ops, which means people are now, their wealth is tied to their labor. So naturally co-ops are going to be very exclusive. So you're going to have some co-ops that are bigger. They're going to be like private capital firms, and they're going to try to hold on to their wealth, their labor, and they're not going to let anyone go. So now we have destroyed investment vehicles, and we also have capitalism again, but in a shittier fashion. So it's not going to work.
Give me 1 second. I've almost got my camera sorted out, I think. It's very strange. All right, there we go. I think let's make sure everything is where it needs to be. All right, there we go. Back. All right. I don't disagree with you. I think that's part of the. I have a lot of interesting objections to like ANCAP. I think ANCAP is one of the things that sounds really great in theory, not possible in reality. I'm not really sure that I agree with you on Trump's on your analysis of Trump's personality or what he's doing or why you are afraid of him that way, or not afraid. I shouldn't say afraid, but that you're concerned. Yeah, you're concerned. Yeah, and but I really don't. I guess I'm maybe a little lost as to the actual objection. So your concern is that because he will push the envelope that he'll push it too far, that you can't rein him in, that he'll become another that he'll become a crazed maniac and not release power and that sort of thing.
I'm sorry. First, I have to ask, do you think we should give someone an extension of power? So without assuming the end there, as in like assuming he's going to become crazy. But do you think we should actually allow that in cases where we think that won't happen?
I'm sorry.
So you're okay with breaking the liberal democracy we have in an effort to get some things done?
No. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the democracy that we have. Right. So I guess maybe we're talking. Maybe I don't know if we're talking past each other, or maybe I'm
showing something really important here. So it's not really important to know whether or not Trump is actually going to be a crazed maniac. It's more important to know that letting someone essentially like have an expansion over their powers momentarily is not good anyway. It is a permission structure to let it continue to degrade. Most power within the government is operating on incentive, right? The Constitution is an incentive-based document between the branches. That means each branch is going to try and assume the most power it can. It operates on its own self-interest. So the judicial branch tries to operate within the judicial branch, and it advances its own judicial incentive. So when the founders, especially James Madison, you can read about this in the Federalist Papers, okay? When he writes about this, he thinks it's a well-oiled machine. And I don't really know, I can't claim, even though I say it, okay? But I know I can't claim that Trump is going to be a deranged maniac. The point here is, I don't really think that's necessary to say it's a bad thing, regardless. I don't think we should let him have an expansion of power in order to get some things done that we think we agree with. Does that make sense?
It would make sense if I thought that Trump was actually doing that. I don't. I just can't get there from here, from what you're saying, right? Like
I'm going to give you some quotes right now, okay? So there's quotes from his State of the Union, and there's quotes from his old State of the Union in 2020, as well as his inauguration. Trump has constantly said things like the 2016 RNC even, where he says things like, I alone can fix this. I am your voice. I am the law and order candidate. I am the only one who can drain the swamp. I am the only person who can save this country. Is that true?
I believe at the time he probably believes that. Would you hold on? Would you say that? Would you say, hold on? Fair enough. Would you disagree that at that point in time he is the only person that can do that?
No. I do not believe
who else could do
the
it?
only person who can save the United States.
Well, he made very specific claims about what he could do. Do you think that there was another person that could do those things?
Yes, that's how this country works. The American idea is that many people can operate in government, not one.
Actually, the American ideal is individualism, that I do it. I can do it. This is my job to do it.
I do not think the American foundation principles only one person can fix this country.
I think that you're exactly wrong. I think that many presidents have said, I'm going to do this. I have to step up and do this. And I think that most people believe that.
Not in the way Trump had, but you're right.
As a matter of fact,
you're right in a way. You're right in a way.
Yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, it's rugged individualism is an American icon. Right.
So I'm going to give you some more quotes. So this is CPAC 2023, where Trump says, I am your justice and I am your retribution.
I believe that. Honestly, that's true.
CPAC as well. He says things like, I will totally obliterate the deep state.
It would be great if he had.
Sure. Now, that is political liturgy.
Sure.
Which is purification of the government, right? So let's just take this to its logical end.
It's also
let's take this to its logical
rhetoric, which is part of a speech. I mean, that's what it.
When I listen to people, I like to here's a big thing I say on my stream. Maybe you can say it's corny. I don't think so. I think it's a big part of a big parable on my stream. Okay, a point of wisdom, and that is when people tell you who they are, you need to listen to them. I don't really like to justify the words of the most authoritative positions in this country. But this is the logical end state here is him purifying the government, right? It's purifying, purity test.
But you are intelligent enough to understand that it's hyperbolic rhetoric.
It is hyperbolic, yeah.
But you're attributing to it the purest of motivation, and I find those not only contradictory but disingenuous. And absolutely bad faith. I mean, if you were to debate me, if we were in a debate and you were to throw that at me, I would laugh at you and tell you that you're insane. Because
you're the president of the United States.
No, but the president of the United States can make rhetorical remarks. Absolutely, 100%.
Enemy from within.
Sorry?
Like enemy from within.
I believe that multiple presidents have said enemy from within. I believe also. I would say that when the presidents have in the past have said that the drug war is the most important issue, that wasn't the actual most important issue that we faced.
I don't think they've ever called people in this country the enemy from within, though.
I don't know that they haven't. I'd have to look into that.
I'm pretty sure they haven't.
But has he? So I mean, I guess looking. That's very interesting point of view. I kind of like I kind of like the way you frame that. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I like the way you frame it.
I'm just saying his direct quotes. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, but you're framing them as if that these are serious things that he's having in a serious, deep conversation, and not making a rhetorical, hyperbolic political speech, right? Like this is what I think is the issue that I have, the issue that I'm going to take with what the way you're trying to come to your conclusion. And that's cool.
I can't come to the conclusion that he's going to be someone who literally purifies the country. That is not possible.
Sure. Yeah. And I agree with you.
What I can tell you right now is that
rhetoric,
I don't need to know the end to diagnose whether or not it's bad. So where would you draw the line? What do you think is rhetorically bad? Or, I mean, there's no way to know his own thoughts, but when you listen to Trump, he says these things consistently. He acts on them consistently.
Well,
so what do you think is rhetorical and what do you think is real?
Isn't he known as like the greatest troll, where he just says random shit just to draw out people just like yourself?
So when do you take it seriously?
They get all spun up and then say a lot of things.
So when do you take it seriously?
When the actions happen. I take actions over words.
Okay, so Gentili talked about this as well in the Italian fascism. Right?
Sorry?
Gentili, an early fascist writer who was a part of the Italian fascist movement. He was the director of education for Mussolini, right? He talks about this pretty exclusively, and he calls it the pure act. Now, this is fine, I guess, but what it does do is it essentially neutralizes the ability to identify what is dangerous until it's too late. You realize that, right? I mean, when the fascists are in power and we say, look, it's fascism, that does nothing for us. It's meaningless. So if you were to think about this in a way to try and prevent something that is,
but I'm not.
Opinion,
okay, right.
A bad idea.
I'm gonna pause you for a second here. First of all, I'm not operating from a point of view where I believe that anything Trump has done or said rises to the level of fascism. You keep presupposing that this is the destination where you're trying to get to, and I'm saying no.
Everything you said.
Well, but that's what you're doing. Whether you don't have to say it.
Quotes from him.
Yeah. You're the one that's talking about this entire conversation. You've basically presupped that Trump is a fascist, and I disagree with
Trump
you.
Was a fascist when he won in 2016.
Okay.
I actually didn't think he was a fascist when he called for January 6th.
I'm sorry?
When January 6th happened, I didn't think he was a fascist either.
You didn't think he was a fascist then?
No.
Okay.
So I can see the tendrils of it, but ultimately it was novel and there wasn't enough information yet.
Sure.
I'm using academic literature on this to try and understand the fascist minimum.
Okay.
And then my own interpretation of what I think is there.
Okay.
So yes, I'm presupposing some assumptions of my own, but ultimately I think he satisfies every single academic and realistic principle of fascism.
Right. I guess I just don't. I mean, as many times as we go around this tree, we're going to end up at the same spot. I'm going to simply say that in my observation, you are wanting to arrive at the point where that Trump is a fascist and his rhetoric is fascist, and therefore that you're very concerned about what the fact.
You think I'm starting from the conclusion, right? Yeah,
I think that you're starting with your conclusion and working backwards to validate it, rather than.
So can you tell me how I'm doing that? How am I assuming the conclusion first?
Well, I thought it was fairly clear. You started out with the definition of fascism and then worked back from there. Am I wrong?
I haven't told you my definition of fascism yet.
Well, you gave me
some tenets of
fascism. Yeah, you gave me
some tenets. Yeah,
sure.
It's a pretty complex ideology, right? It's like if you ask me to define capitalism right now, it'd be really hard for me to just do it in one sentence.
I mean, I don't find fascism to be a particularly complex ideology myself. To me, it's fairly simple. I think that people do call people fascist when what they really mean is authoritarian or totalitarian or something else.
Well, that's not me. So
I didn't say that you did. I did not say that. I said I find that people do that. I think that it is, but I don't know that it's as complex as it maybe you're diving into it. And I don't mean to be rude here, but I normally end about 45 minutes ago. This has been a fascinating conversation. I understand that you're, my chat tells me that you're going to debate Andrew Wilson very soon. What are you going to debate him on?
It's actually on this topic. Is Trump a fascist?
Okay. Interesting. Well, I wish you luck because I think it's going to be a hard.
He's knowledgeable.
Sorry.
He understands. He understands early fascist really well.
Yeah.
I think he makes some mistakes though, but you'll have to wait and see.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it'll be great. I don't know. I haven't actually been paying much attention to the chat, so I don't know if anybody's asked any questions or anything. But if they did, too bad. So sad because I've literally.
You're okay. I'm sorry for holding you a little bit longer.
Over, which I do have things I have to do. So that's it's been great. What? So you're Sircar, okay, and you. It's an interesting thought process. It's an interesting thought exercise, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that I agree with where you're ending up. Right.
I mean, just
I think you're kind of rationalizing things. I think you're kind of
starting from the conclusion. I promise you.
Okay.
Fascism is complex.
It just seems like that.
It's got a very, very specific definition to it. At least the architecture of it. Okay.
Sure.
Now, my name's Sirka, or I stream on YouTube and Twitch. But if you want to have another conversation, man, I'm open for it.
All right. Are you're mostly on Twitch or YouTube?
Mostly on Twitch, but I stream on YouTube too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm around. Tonight's Wednesday. I may or may not be around. I mean, I guess it's Thursday actually, and but I lost today.
I stream like every day now, so.
Yeah, I don't normally stream Thursdays unless I have a debate or I'm moderating a debate, and I don't think I have one tonight. So I'm probably just gonna chill out. I'm gonna work on my airplane probably, and or do some gun prattle.
A model one or a real one?
Oh no, I've got. I was actually before you came up. One of the airplanes I flew quite a few hours in just crashed over the weekend. So. From a flight school, and I have a couple of airplanes that I work on, and I say I'm going to work on my airplane. Probably not. I've got a bunch of gun content I need to pump out, and for my gun prattle show. So I got a lot of stuff going on. Man. Yeah. At any rate,
okay.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. It was a good conversation.
So. You too, man. Mutual.
All right, man. See you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get out of here. As I said, I only thought I'd be on like 15 minutes, but that was a good conversation. I probably won't be on later. If I am, I'll let you all know. Mo Rebuttal, I saw you in there. I wish you could have got in on that. That was really good. But it was really an interesting conversation for sure. And I had a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you guys later. I got to get out of here. Got to go pick the kids up from school and get some dinner and that kind of thing. So you guys have a great rest of your day. If I see you later, I see you. If not, we'll be back tomorrow night for Friday Night Cool. All right. As always, be cool. Wear the glasses if you need them, and do all the things.
I'll give you.
Bro, I'm obviously not. I told you like multiple times that I'm not fucking like gonna respond to like. I can't understand like just a whole like wall of like text. You can like say something and respond or not, but I'm like you're like obviously I'm not gonna engage with your argument like that. Like what? Like that's so lame.